California, the power is ours with Flex Alerts. Flex Alerts, the power is ours.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento. And I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 74 years. Look for made-in-America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Are you ready for an incredible pre-owned blowout this 4th of July? Elk Grove Kia has got you covered with over 300 used cars, SUVs, vans, and trucks available. Every single one of our vehicles has gone through an extensive 150-point inspection, so you can buy with complete confidence. We stand by our cars and offer a bring-it-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, simply return it. Worried about your credit? Don't be. At Elk Grove Kia, we have 100 years of combined experience in helping our customers get the best financing options available. Charge-offs, repossessions, foreclosures, bankruptcies, no problem. Our team specializes in finding solutions for every credit situation. But before you even step foot in our dealership, let us show you what we can do for you. Give us a call or visit our website, and our dedicated team will work with you to find the perfect vehicle and the best financing option. This 4th of July, Elk Grove Kia is your destination for incredible pre-owned deals. Visit us today at Elk Grove Kia or check us out online at elkgrovekia.com.
Turn your highway into a smileway. Elk Grove Kia.
Hey, it's Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. Built different, built better, and built to last. All made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Just go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Now is the time to take care of your 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rillard with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., the NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents, and we will have you completely covered with all of your free NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. But right now, let's get to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Yeah, we got a lot to get to today in regards to NBA free agency, which, as Chris just said, doesn't tip off officially until tomorrow. But first things first, Chris Watkins, great to be back with you.
Good to have you back.
What was perfect about that last night in Oakland? I don't know how much, if any of it, you saw. Confession, I've been watching the A's and Yankees last couple of nights because I realized this may be some of my last chances ever to watch the Oakland A's and the New York Yankees. So Monday was a crisp, nice 2-1 A's win. And then last night, it was awful. It was terrible.
11-0 in a perfect game.
Throwing the ball all over the place and swinging at everything.
Last two outs are on 0-0 counts.
Domingo Germán, who's been lit up his last two starts, who was suspended for too much sticky stuff. He just shut the A's down. He's going to throw another curveball. You don't have to swing at everything. It was really, I think that's really a good measure of whether you're a fan or not. I know some real baseball fans who say, so-and-so's my team, but if they're getting no hit, I'm rooting for the no-hitter. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like, no, then you're not really a fan of the team.
I noticed that last night, and, I don't feel bad for I understand why all the A's fans would feel like the opposite of that, where it's like, especially right now with all the emotions going on with everything, it was loud. It was very loud when that last out happened last night. It sounded like the entire, I mean, as a casual spectator, I'm absolutely rooting for something. I mean, I'm an 11-0 game. There's no story to tell there, but if you saw a perfect game, I mean, I see why you would root for that 100%.
I guess. I understand it. I just don't
if you truly
agree.
care about your team, absolutely not.
I want to see the A's busted up.
Yeah, I wasn't cheering at the greatness of Steph Curry dropping 50 points on the Kings because it was historic. That hurt, and I didn't like to watch it. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But when you're the A's fan, and you at this point, I mean, yeah, you love the team, but you really. To me, I mean, to start off the segment, you said what was perfect about that. To me, what was so perfect was it was a perfect encapsulation of how terrible this A's season was. It's just another check on a horrible season that you can throw on there. The fact that there hasn't been a perfect game in 11 years.
Yeah.
And of course it happens to this team that was on pace at one point to have the lowest win percentage in baseball.
The miracle is that it hasn't happened sooner when you look at that lineup.
Honestly, I was thinking that earlier this season. I was like, man, the A's are really terrible, but I feel like they need like a stamp of like they were extra terrible and these things happened. And there was tons of stats on how many runs they were allowing and their bullpen was terrible. But this is truly like a cherry on top of what has been just an absolutely nightmarish season for Oakland A's.
At some point, the Angels are going to come to town, and Shohei Ohtani is going to have a shutout with a cycle, and it hasn't been done since 1893.
But the thing that made the perfect game so interesting to me is, to your point, Chris Verlade, if Ohtani ever does that, he's probably going to be at a point where it's like 7th innings, like he's thrown too many pitches, we got to take him out. That's what they do now.
Yeah.
And last night it's like, no problem. This guy's not that good anyway.
Right.
So
just feed him.
Just let him keep throwing.
Right.
It was sad for me because, I'm like 85 now. And I remember when my brother Brian woke me up one time and said, Catfish Hunter pitched a no-hitter.
Yeah.
For it was for the a perfect game for the brand new Oakland A's. First year the A's were here. It's like,
that's
wow.
Incredible.
And then, so that's what I think of when I think perfect game in Oakland. And then to think there's probably not going to be any more perfect games in Oakland.
Yeah.
It was just very sad.
It was really sad. And it just sucks. I mean, again, it's another thing that A's, and that's true as well. Right. Yes. I know A's fans have a very large disdain for Yankees and just the history there. And even the recent history of them eliminating them from the playoffs. It's just a real gut punch for all A's fans. And I know you don't want my pity, but I just continue to feel really, really bad.
You know what drives me crazy about Yankee fans?
A lot, I would assume.
And I know not all of them are necessarily bad people. Like you
just
got Frankie,
Jason Ross.
You got Jay Ross. So it's not all Yankee fans, but there are some Yankee fans, and you see them, you go to an A's game and you see this drives me crazy. These people that pretend to be like, hey, I'm a great Yankee fan. So they'll have like a jersey that says like number 7 on it.
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay, Mickey Mantle. But then it'll say Mantle on the back. You moron. The Yankees have never had names on the backs of their jerseys.
Right.
I know who number 7 is on the Yankees. Do you? Do you need the name on there so that oh, yeah, I'm a great fan. Mickey Mantle. Hey. Or like a number 5, DiMaggio. Hey. Jolton Joe, I got his jersey on right there. You idiot!
Right. If you were truly
never had their names on the back of their jerseys.
Right. If you were a true Yankee, if you were a diehard, not even a diehard, but if you consider yourself a Yankee fan, that's like one of their calling cards. Is that they don't put the names on the back. It's just not something they do.
Do they do it on the
very specific thing to complain about?
They do. I
know
the Giants. The old day, I'm talking about guys like Mickey Mantle.
Right.
He didn't have his name on the back of his freaking jersey.
Right. And the Giants are like that as well, right? I think they might have switched it over
a couple years ago.
The Giants, the Red Sox, I want to say the Cubs.
So I'm talking about, like the old school classic.
Right, exactly.
Number 3, guess what? Babe Ruth, huh?
And it's a
Babe
little
Ruth didn't even wear a freaking number for half his career.
And it's a little off-colored, so you can tell that it's old.
Yes, you can tell, yeah.
It's old, see?
I don't know. It all just gets to be too much sometimes with everything going on this year.
And then when they throw that perfect game, everything, it just goes up another 10.
To the Yankees.
I know, the Yankees.
Yeah.
They don't deserve it.
They probably deserve it. It just, I don't think when you look at everything going on with the A's and you look at their lineup, that shouldn't count as a perfect game. Asterisk.
It definitely
you need to put an asterisk.
I agree with you there because the roster that the A's are throwing out there is not a professional lineup. Like that's like playing a high AAA, maybe a quadruple.
Yeah.
We want to give them double? Class A? Just single A?
Uh-huh.
That is not a professional lineup that they went against. So I agree with you. That should not.
Anyway.
That's definitely an asterisk on that one. And, it's fine.
And normally I'm a fan of baseball. So anything with baseball like that people celebrate, I say, well, good, because it's good for baseball, and baseball needs the attention. But no, that was just
not
too
under those
much
circumstances.
Last night with everything else going on. The A's were like, ninth inning. It's like, we got to get out of here. 6 pitches. You got to take a couple pitches. You need a base runner, bro.
Yeah.
Have you ever played baseball before?
Right. And I know there's the spirit of the game and all that, but like, no.
Make him throw you a strike.
It's me.
If he misses 4 times, guess what? You have a man on base.
Yep.
No more perfect game, at least. But no, he threw 6 pitches in the 9th inning. His A's were like, man, they got to
get out of there.
Let's get this over with.
Everybody's like, let's just get out of here. And to me, it's just sad that this isn't even the worst. Exactly. Got to be the traffic. This isn't even the worst thing that's happened this year for the A's. So this is, I don't know. It's just, it sucks that this happened.
The games are moving fast. I'm watching.
They are. Yeah, it's going great.
I saw Herman get through the 7th inning, and I go over to the kitchen to, I don't know, wash something.
Right.
And I come back, and he's pitching again, and there's 2 outs in the 8th inning.
Right.
It's like, boom,
the pace of play is crazy. I told you I went to that Giants Diamondbacks game the other day, and it was one of those where it was like the 5th inning. I was like, if we're going to eat food, like we got to do it now, or else it's going to be 9th inning when we come back. And that's the one thing that, I will give baseball all the credit. It's worked. All of the rule changes have worked, in my opinion. I think the pitch clock is great. I think, the fact that there's more stolen bases is great. It's been a really big improvement just from a casual perspective too. I mean, this is somebody who I check in maybe once a week. I'll watch a baseball game, and I've really enjoyed just the pace of play and not the feeling of not having to wait really in between pitches. To me, it's been a revelation.
I saw Nate this morning between segments, and I guess they talked about this today, JJ and J Ross. They're wondering now, that's the first perfect game in the pitch clock era.
Right.
Does that put more heat on the offense when it's like, you can't like, hold on, back out and stall the pitcher?
That's interesting. I think so. Because
I think it would be harder, maybe, but on a guy who throws hard, because, guys really bringing it. And the guy last night threw 92 tops. And again, it's just a curve. I'm going to throw you a curveball, swing and a miss. Oh, who saw that coming? But a guy who's really throwing hard, who has, maybe take a few more moments between pitches. I wonder if that would work against you if you were.
I wonder. I feel like you would just be in a better rhythm. Like I would think that, like it's a little easier again, like that you're not getting stopped every 5-10 seconds between every pitch. I think that there is just an element of like, you're feeling yourself, and it's a lot less stoppages. It feels like it's happening quicker. I think it's an advantage for the pitcher.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I mean, I'm not rooting for Yankee success.
Boo!
Yeah.
Come on. Just pop one over the third baseman's head. Something.
Are you a fan of bunting? Like, or would you?
Yes.
Yes. Just ruin it.
I have no problem with that.
Crowd the plate, get hit.
Yeah.
That's what I would. I feel like bunting is almost a step too far. That's almost really like something about bunting is just that's a little unsportsman to me. Leaning into the plate, I can live with. That's kind of gamesmanship. But for me, bunting is just
legal. I mean, it's not like
it's legal. It's just a little. It's kind of bush league in my. I don't know. I mean,
I wish now they would have tried it. Probably wouldn't have worked anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, on to the NBA. Harrison Barnes. Tell you why he's actually. I'm going to try to carry on today. It's not going to be easy. Appreciate your patience. Harrison Barnes. Why he's better and how he's better than you think. We're right back with that on Chris and Company. Watkins and Whitey, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relief, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
And Devin Michael Whitey Gleason, thrilled to be with you today. I guess we better get ready for some heat, huh? Finally, summer is coming, Chris Watkins.
Yeah, I actually can wait.
Fireball descending on Sacramento.
Not very excited about that. What, it's supposed to be 100 for, I think, the rest of the week, including the weekend. I'm
very, very Independence Day, though. I'm fine.
Yeah, that's true. Right. 4th of July, it's supposed to be very warm, and you're supposed to be in the pool. You're supposed to be barbecuing, all that stuff. So it is right for the season.
In the pool.
Barbecuing in the pool. Yeah. Why not? It's. I guess it is right, but I'm just not a fan of this crazy heat that we get here sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I will not step outside because it burns my skin, and I'm like, I can't do it.
My wife has family in Pacifica where it gets kind of foggy.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we want to come for, to get some sunshine.
No, you don't.
Like, are you sure?
No, you don't.
You're going to get some
sunshine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We want some sunshine. Okay. You'll get plenty of that.
You'll get it and then some. And it's not fun. Like, I can do mid 90s, but once it gets to like 97 and over, it's just I'm out. Like I sweat too easily. It's just a mess. I can't.
And Chris are very similar on our reactions to weather.
Really?
Yeah.
If it also it's got to be like a perfect temperature. If it's too cold, I'm like shivering. I'm having a bad time. I need jackets.
Except the one thing I think I have worse is I burn almost immediately. And it doesn't matter like what sunscreen or whatever I put on.
You guys should move somewhere closer to the coast where it doesn't get as cold or as hot.
Yeah, but I can't do like
too soft
if
for
it's
the valley.
Too snowy though. Like if the weather's too cold, I can't do it. Like that's
what I'm
just
saying.
as bad.
Go the other way to the ocean, and then it kind of stays.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's always like between
more temperate,
58 and like 63.
Yeah.
I guess I could do that. I guess. But then, like, when I'm soft. Let me tell you, whatever the weather's going to be, I'm not going to like
Chris
it.
needs to be in a room that is 72 constantly.
Yes.
All right.
I need room temperature and not much more, not much less.
How hot do you think this free agent thing is going to get around the NBA? We all love, free agency. Here we go.
I don't think actually that hot. I really don't like this free agency class, and I don't think that there's going to be a mad dash to sign some of the top guys. I think maybe we'll see James Harden sign, maybe Chris Middleton sign right at the deadline, or right when we're on the other side of the deadline. I just don't think like we're going to see Kyle Kuzma go off the board, Jeremy Grant go off the board immediately. Something tells me it's going to be a slow burn this year, with the free agents kind of being a third tier of a star.
So as free agency started, as we started talking about it, I know technically it hasn't started. I think for the most part, Kings fans, the consensus was we can do better than Harrison Barnes. Oh, he's going to go somewhere else. Oh, well, I mean, we'd like to keep him. Who else is out there? Oh, that guy. And I feel like we're coming back around to where, hey, you know what? If Harrison Barnes stays, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, it does feel like we've kind of gone full circle here, but it's kind of, that's the nature of Harrison Barnes, and that's what makes him so frustrating to me. And that's been my distaste with him his entire time here, is just like he's there's clearly improvement spots that can be made with Harrison Barnes. You know, you can clearly get better than Harrison Barnes at that position, but it's just a whole lot easier said than done. When you look at the guys out there, especially the ones that are available, it's just there's nobody that is 100% you can guarantee me they are going to be more impactful than Harrison Barnes. Sure, maybe you could say Kyle Kuzma will be a better scorer than Harrison Barnes. Probably won't be as efficient. Probably won't be as timely with his buckets. Probably can't play as good of defense. Jeremy Grant, same kind of thing. I think they might be better, but it's not a guarantee, and especially with the difference in price range, I just don't think it's worth the risk.
The thing I don't get about Kyle Kuzma, and I've fallen into this trap myself, is that there's kind of a reflex reaction to him like, oh, he's a good shooter. And if you look at anyway the way he shot last year, the term good shooter and the name Kyle Kuzma do not belong in the same sentence unless it's Kyle Kuzma is not a very good shooter. And I know I said the same thing about Scoot, and I don't mean to always go off on that guy can't shoot, but it is pretty important.
It's pretty important, especially when you're talking about a role player. Like Scoot Henderson at least will have the ball in his hands a ton, will be able to attack the rim.
He's really amazing. Yeah. I realize that. Scoot he's got issues with his shooting, but he looks like he could be an amazing player.
Kyle Kuzma is almost the complete inverse of Harrison Barnes. Like Harrison Barnes is a very low usage, high efficiency player. Kyle Kuzma is a high usage, low efficiency guy. And so if you're going to replace somebody who Harrison Barnes is 5th in shot attempts on the Sacramento Kings last year, if you're just going to plug and play those, if you're going to say, okay, give Kuzma those 10 shot attempts, he's going to be a lot less efficient. He's not going to be
losing something.
Yeah,
yes,
he's not going to be that 20-point per game scorer that everyone thinks he is. And I just don't think that he's better as a role player than what he is right now in his current role. And I just don't think that it's as good of a fit as people are trying to make it out to be. I think it's really more of a personality thing. Kyle Kuzma is not like, he just views himself a certain way.
Right.
And I don't think that you can change his view on himself. I think he's always going to think, I'm a star. Like I am better or more equipped to be a scorer on this team than Domantas Sabonis, than Kevin Huerter. Like I can't see him falling in line. If he can, that's what made him so valuable when he was on the Lakers. I think people saw him as like a role player who could have capabilities of being more than that. But now that he's a scorer, he's really kind of left behind all of the other things that made him so intriguing as an additional piece.
I got to be careful what I say too, because we know our boss here, Brian, is a Kuzma guy,
Big Kuz head.
And I don't even really have a job here, so I gotta be very careful.
Gotta be
right?
very kind.
The easy thing would be to say, yes, he's the greatest.
Just don't slam on the Braves and you're good. I think you should be fine.
It's a good tip.
Yeah,
good tip. Now you tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
I have some numbers here. Bear with me. It may sound like a lot, but some of these you may be familiar with.
Right.
You know, true shooting percentage, right?
Yeah.
Which is just like if you take 4 shots to make 2, but they're both 3-pointers. I take 4 shots to make 2, but they're 2-pointers. We have the same field goal percentage, but your true shooting percentage is higher because you've scored more points.
Okay, and
so
I also
that in.
I thought it also accounted for like last second shot clock as well. Like it doesn't count. That could be effective. There's effective field goal percentage. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically,
don't mean
to
confuse everybody.
No, it's just like, okay, well, it's taken into account not only how many shots you make, but
the value
the
of
points,
the shots.
how many points you score.
Gotcha.
So here's league average, NBA league average, the last 3 years, this true shooting percentage. And some people look at this and consider this more important than actual, just field goal percentage. So the last 3 years, true shooting percentage, league average 572, 560, and last year 581, which is really high. Everybody was scoring. Kyle Kuzma the last 3 years, 546,
so
547. And then last year, remember, league average was 581. He was 544.
Okay.
So it's like, that's not very efficient.
No.
Harrison Barnes, 626, 623. And last year, when league average was 581, 632 was his true shooting percentage. So he's hyper efficient.
Right.
Yeah. And I know he didn't, he averaged 15 a game?
15 a game. Yep.
Yeah. So, he's not a 21 point a game guy like Kyle Kuzma is, but that's okay. His 15 helped you much more than Kuzma, who needs a lot more shots to get his 21.
Yes, no, and I'm at the point where I think that those are the kind of guys that the Kings need to bring in. Like it's guys who don't need to have the ball in their hand, but when they do have the ball in their hand, they're going to score efficiently. Like, they don't have to have multiple touches in order to be effective on the offensive end. And
Chris, don't you think Kyle Kuzma is going to end up taking shots from Keegan Murray?
Yes, from Keegan Murray, from Kevin Herter.
I don't mean that he's literally going to grab the ball from him, but there's only so many shots to go around.
Absolutely. I don't think Kyle Kuzma is a ball mover. He's definitely more of a ball stopper than a ball mover. So I think Harrison is, he's going to be a guy who's probably going to have his role lessened, if anything, throughout the remainder of his tenure as a Sacramento King, if he re-signs with the team. I think this year will probably be a role player or a bench player, maybe even, and then moving forward, just less and less importance. And I think that's really where you value that true shooting percentage, is guys who do the most with their limited touches. And, if you're talking Kyle Kuzma versus Harrison Barnes is winning that battle 9 out of 10 times, if not every time.
Real quick, last year, just two more numbers. The true shooting percentages for Cam Johnson and Jeremy Grant. Remember, league average 581, which is a really high league average. That's what it was last year. Cam Johnson was 617, and Jeremy Grant was 601.
Wow.
Because he shot the three ball really well last year.
Shot like 40% from three last year. That's actually really surprising on the Jeremy Grant number.
Yeah, it kind of sticks out. You look at his career, but,
I was
I think
just about to say, I was like, the only thing that concerns me about that is contract year. And I thought Harrison was going to go crazy this year, because I was like, he's in a contract season, 30. This is his last big payday. And that didn't happen for Harrison, but I think it could help you in the long run, honestly, because I think it's going to bring his number down.
And a lot of the talk about Kuzma, I know you mentioned, was it Jake Fisher? Yahoo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, how did he phrase it? It seems like the Kuzma talk is gaining momentum, which really all he means is a lot of people are talking about it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that the team is actually talking about it.
Right.
And then someone else picks that up. It gets aggregated. Then all of a sudden you got multiple people saying, oh, Kuzma to the Kings. And when you really look at it and boil it down to its essence, nobody actually said that.
Right. No one has.
As far as we know, I don't know if the Kings are really that interested in him or not.
No, there's been no direct sources say, or league sources say that they're in communication. All that we've heard is that they were in communication with Harrison Barnes. It stopped, but it seems like that has picked back up. That's really the only actual free agency news we've heard. And, it could be because we're not in the legal tampering period yet, but I think it's also a point that Monty McNair has made to not have any leaks in his front office. I mean, we haven't really heard that the Kings are directly linked to anybody, not a single person, where
that's like
5, 6, 7 years,
by the way.
Yes, very much so. I mean, during the Vlade era, we were hearing almost too much of everything. It's like, oh my goodness, is Woj working in the front office? Because things were getting leaked left and right, whether it's good, bad, all of it. And with Monty, we have we don't have anything to work off of. And it's going to be really exciting to see what he's actually been working on these past couple of days. And we're only over 24 hours away.
Coming right back with a look at this Draymond to Sack thing. Are we done with that? And we'll look at how the Kings free agent picture appears to be taking shapes. Coming up on Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
The King season might be over, but Sactown Sports coverage never stops.
I feel like we grew a lot during this playoff series with our defense, and if we can sustain that during the year, that's going to help us a lot.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We're looking at a hotter day today for your Thursday. Plan around the heat. Take advantage of the morning when it is comfortable outside, because by the afternoon, we're looking at highs in the range of 98 to 102. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Do you have any superstitions on the golf course? Most players have some. Links Golf Magazine offers a few. Never tee off in front of someone who just made a birdie. That's sure to incur the wrath of the golf gods. What's your lucky ball marker? Maybe a quarter with your birth year? Never carry an extra ball in your pocket, and never use a ball you deem a water ball on a par 3 with a water hazard. There's a reason they're called water balls. And never use a ball found during a round. Using it the same day is bad karma. And if there's an unbroken tee on the tee box, another golfer left it behind for good reason. Speaking of tees, according to the late Tony Lima, white tees suffered from commonness and can be bad luck. Lee Trevino never used yellow. Other colors are acceptable except pink unless you're Paula Kramer. If you're in the middle of a career round, don't go near the ball washer. You might wash away the ball's magical awesomeness. And never talk to your competitor's ball in flight, yelling, hook, carry, get down, or hit a house. It'll come back to haunt you. Kind of makes you feel normal, huh? That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Washed and waxed?
Check.
Gassed up?
Got it.
What about that check engine light?
That,
You know you got to treat your car right.
I know.
Then you should know about the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. Head on over to AutoZone, get your engine light checked, and get a report for free. Don't even take a minute.
Free AutoZone Fix Finder service.
Your car will thank you, and then you can thank me.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
To go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards.
You all right in there?
I'm good.
You need a reliever?
No, I got it.
Get somebody up in the pen?
I got it.
All right.
Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Now let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Nice comeback from Christopher Ladd there, huh?
It was.
Yeah, he hit that ball. Like,
Hey,
it happens.
You just got to power through it, you know? Sometimes you struggle, but, you just got to.
Actually, wasn't my worst coughing attack during an update. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, he has been dealing with some upper respiratory stuff, too. So, playing hurt, we appreciate it.
Flu week for Ladd.
As opposed to the great Rami, I was in with him a couple weeks ago, and he had that happen, and he was like, It's like, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I'm eating granola. Well, don't eat granola if you're on the radio, right?
Like the driest thing possible that's definitely going to get caught in your throat.
Granola and almonds, things like that. It's like, if you're going to be talking, you don't want to be eating.
I think I learned almonds the hard way, too. I think I ate almonds once, and it got caught in I think I started crying, literally, in the middle of
They just kind of linger there. They lurk, and you think you're fine, and then you start to talk, and you're like, watch this.
And then you just die.
Yeah.
As I kind of slowly die a little from impersonating. That's why you have water.
Mm-hmm.
That's another lesson I learned. Always got to have water.
Water is wonderful. Let's see here. Draymond to Sacramento. I know you had brought it up during the playoffs. I understand the upside, but are we done with that? There was kind of a flurry there where you had Windhorse saying, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings make a move. It looks like word coming out of the Bay Area, as best we can tell. Everything is very shadowy at this point, but he's expected to stay there. I think Draymond to the Kings, I think we're done with that. What's your take? What's your read?
It feels that way. It feels like they're kind of, especially with Chris Paul coming in, it just feels like they're going to go for veteran-laden team where it's just going to be all vets. And that's the route they're going to go. And
it's up to him. He's a free agent, but it looks like, if
I'm not mistaken, I saw a clip yesterday from Draymond that I assume was maybe a year or so old. Where he flat out says, like, me and Chris Paul do not get along. Like, there is a level of respect as players, as greats, but as friends, there is no relationship there. And I think it's, if anything, like a little sour in terms of just like a neutral. Like, it's not like they don't really feel anything. I think that there is some disdain there between those two. So they'll have to work that out. But I think that that's probably also a very normal occurrence with Draymond Green. So I think he's going to stay in Golden State. It seems to be trending that way.
I think with Draymond, I've never talked to him, but I think with Draymond, it's a matter of, I may not like this guy, but if I respect him, we're going to work it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that cuts both ways with all those guys, as far as Chris Paul goes.
Right.
It's like, we've played against each other. We don't like each other, but we're trying to win. So
exactly,
they're smart enough to figure that out. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
No, I don't think so.
But
I don't think this
thing was more like
Poole
he didn't accept where he was in the pecking order,
right.
Yes. With Chris Paul, it's going to be like, whatever. Let's just win. Right.
Yeah. We're all old here. What are we going to fight about? Like, let's just focus on winning, and then the rest will come, I'm sure. Like, I'm not really concerned about that chemistry being awry or anything, just because those guys.
It'd be great if it was terrible from the Kings.
It would be awesome if that's if that's Poole part 2, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic for everybody. But I think that those guys are they're pros, and like they understand that there's bigger fish to fry, and they're not going to win if they're going to be combative. So
you're not supposed to like a guy like Chris Paul when you're playing against him anyway.
Or Draymond, right? They're both natural. They're supposed. Those two are definitely supposed to hate each other. And now they're going to be working on the same side. So I think it's actually going to be bad for everybody, because now not only do you have one person that's going to upset the entire team, you got two guys, and they'll probably feed off each other. Maybe that's what they'll be game planning for, is how we're going to get into people's heads instead of the actual on the floor stuff.
Did you see the video of Chris Paul when he was with the Rockets? It just resurfaced after the trade, where there's a timeout and Steve Kerr is
that's my favorite gif of all time.
Like a really fake, forced laugh, and Chris Paul laughs back at him, then turns around and gives him the frown. Like
that is honestly, I'm not even joking. That's probably my most used gif response. Like there's so many. Like
that's your move.
Yeah, it's not funny at all.
That's your move, though, Chris.
It is. That is that's very me. Like I would literally because people always think they're so funny, making little chuckles like Chris and Co. Where's the Co? Yeah. I get it. That's funny. Yeah, I get it, because it's a rotating cast. That's really funny how you came up with that by yourself. So I very much felt Chris Paul in that moment, and I know Steve Kerr made some really corny joke.
Yeah,
and it was. It
looked
perfect.
like he was saying, "Hey, you fouled him, right?"
He's like, "Yeah, I did."
Chicken wing.
No, I did.
I saw what you did, Chris. Right? Oh,
He's
come on.
Oh, you saw that? You saw that? Yeah, you saw that. You saw that. Very much my vibe.
Yeah, he actually addressed it, right? He was asked, why'd you do that? He said, it wasn't funny.
It wasn't. No, I feel it. Exactly. It's not funny, and people think it's almost, I think it's great. I love that.
Speaking of videos, have you seen the Thompson twins when they're asked to name NBA players? Have you seen that one? Let's see if we can get that. Because, a lot of players play now. They don't really know the league.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes.
And they're supposed to name NBA players whose names start with the letter A, and they're just like, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. They were
man and
Asur. Yes, yeah. I saw a video of them. I think they were naming like the last 8 MVPs or something, and they were able to do it off the top of their head too. Like those guys are real hoop heads, which is really cool because I don't feel like there's like this weird thing where, especially like young college kids or the newer crop of young guys, I don't think they actually enjoy the NBA. Like I don't like. There's definitely a good hand. Like Davion Mitchell loves basketball. He loves watching the NBA. But I think there's a good handful of people where, like when they're eliminated from the playoffs, they're not like, oh, I can't wait to see if Denver's going to win this. Like there is an element of, no, like it's just a thing I do. And once you get into the NBA, like that's my job. Like I'm not going to watch after I'm done. Like it feels weird or feels gross or it hurts too much. And I just think that's really like, I think that if I were a GM, that would absolutely be something that I would want to find out about players is how much do you actually enjoy the NBA? How much do you watch the NBA? Because to me, that's like, if you're an observer of the game, like you're going to pick up things that maybe somebody who's just playing off a field doesn't do. You better scouting. It's easier. There's a real love for the game. That's the kind of stuff that I would be intrigued with if I were a GM. That's like the first thing that I would really want to check off.
Do you see it this way? This is the way I see it. The Kings free agent picture, I think it's starting to clear up a little bit. Of course, we really have no idea, but I think it's starting to become a little more clear. That is, if it's true that it looks like, okay, Draymond's probably not in the picture. Barnes is back in the picture, we think, after it looked like he was going to go somewhere else. Kuzma, I haven't heard anything linking the Kings to him other than people going, hey, you know what? That would make sense. So I don't know about that.
I think that's really basically off that Buddy Hield trade that was supposed to go down a couple years ago.
And it's a great point, Chris. And Kuzma, to me, right now is a different player than he was then. So I think when Monty McNair looks at Kuzma now, he sees a different guy than he did then when he liked him.
Right.
But so Bruce Brown, I don't know. As JJ said earlier today, Kings haven't been linked to him, but the Lakers are now apparently linked to him. Yeah. So unless they've got something they're working on, like, they're going to make a run at Cam Johnson, which I hope, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be doing anything really major.
I don't think so either, especially again, like I don't think there's going to be any midnight or whatever. It's 3:00 tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be any Kings sign player X to 4 years, $60 million. I just think
it doesn't look like there sure could be, but it doesn't seem like.
And it's weird because if they get the Harrison thing done quickly, that's out of the way. But the guys that I feel like the Kings should really go after in terms of fit, like Cam Johnson, like Grant Williams just got his qualifying offer, so he's restricted. PJ Washington just became restricted.
Did he do anything
yesterday.
for you? I'm glad you brought him up.
Grant Williams,
PJ Washington,
both of them. I really like Grant or PJ. For me, those are really good. I think you can start those guys at the 4, and it gives you something different. And also, like I just really like what they bring defensively as well for both of those guys. But the problem with that, I guess you could call it a problem, they're restricted. And so you're going to throw the offer at it, and then it's going to sit. Your money is just going to sit there for 2 to 3 days, and you really can't make any moves after that or in the waiting period. So I don't know if just timeline wise, that's going to fit for Sacramento, because, they need to make sure that if they don't get Harrison Barnes, they need to make sure they get somebody to replace him. And I don't know about waiting 3 days to maybe even just have your offer be, matched by that team.
PJ Washington's a really intriguing player. Shot the 3 ball pretty well last year.
6'10". Yeah, legitimate length. Hopefully can rebound. Hopefully can protect the rim. And also really mobile, like somebody who could play on the perimeter and probably be switchable. Could fit in the closing lineup. That's great. Absolutely. If he can play small ball center, that's another huge bonus. I think him and Trey Lyles would fit really well together as well. Him and Sasha would fit really well together. To me, that's like a perfect fit for them, because PJ is somebody, you mentioned he can play center. You can play him at the 4. Maybe if you want to go in a really big lineup, you can play him. You can get away with playing him at the 3 a little. That's the kind of guy that the Kings really need, is just somebody who's really versatile and can fit with just about anybody else on their roster. I really like that fit. And then Grant Williams is kind of just like a little pocket version of that. He's 6'7", but provides some spacing and also some really big, just a big body. I think the Kings can really use.
I know earlier I was talking about true shooting percentage. PJ Washington's last year, nothing to write home about.
Okay.
But I will say this about Kuzma, because I know I'm saying it doesn't look like the Kings are interested, but I don't know. They could be. And here's one reason why they could be. Kuzma didn't shoot the ball well last year. My understanding is he shot the ball from the corners, the 3 ball from the corners, at a pretty decent clip.
That's good.
Yeah.
But
like
I'm pretty
40%.
sure. I think I looked at his catch and shoot numbers, though, and his catch and shoot numbers still are like mid 30s. And that's the problem, especially with the role he's going to be playing. It's fine. Hitting things in the corner is great. The Kings really don't have a corner specialist. Keegan was pretty good in the corners, but if you're not going to be able to knock it down on catch and shoot, like that's a problem, because the Kings don't need somebody to put the ball on the ground as much as Kyle Kuzma does.
Coming up next, how many future Hall of Famers are on the 49ers? And how many future Hall of Famers are on the Sacramento Kings, Chris? That is next. Chris and Company. He's Watkins on Whitey, Sactown Sports.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento. And I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 74 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers. Imagine if every time you bought something, you could get a second one for 30% off. Buy one car, get the second one for 30% off.
Buy one TV, get the second one at 30% off. Buy a new house and get the second one at 30% off.
At Bell Brothers, that's exactly what we're offering this spring on windows and doors. When you buy one brand new energy-efficient window for your home, you'll get the second one at 30% off.
A minimum purchase is required, but the discount applies to every second window you buy. For example, if you buy 5 windows, you'll get 5 windows at 30% off.
The same is true for doors. Buy one, get one for 30% off. And for doors, the minimum is just 2.
So call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Sitting at your desk? Watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Thanks for being with us. Rarely have I seen Chris this excited because the Kings have dropped their California Classic and Summer League roster.
I can't view
Chris
it.
is
My
like,
internet is messing up, but
like
I am
Santa just came to town.
Incredibly excited to look at this roster. I saw yesterday Jordan Ford got put on the team. He's about as close as it gets to like a Sacramento legend. He won Sac B Player of the Year twice, junior and senior year at Folsom. Went to St. Mary's. He's just baby Steph, honestly. if he wears number 30, I'm going to be incredibly excited. Jake Stevens is somebody who I've been screaming the praises of for the past week, ever since I learned who he was. 7'10", wingspan, 7-footer who shot 40% from 3 last year.
Did you say 7'10"?
7'10" wingspan. He is a 7-footer who shot 40% on high volume threes last year at Chattanooga. Very excited for Jake Stevens. Very excited.
And no one drafted him?
Nobody drafted him.
Hey, what happened to your guy, Amani Bates?
He went 46 to Cleveland.
Okay.
And that was Cleveland's only pick. They're really excited about that. He was selected higher than anticipated. People were thinking he was going to be low 50s or mid 50s and ended up going mid 40s. So Imani's got a home, and it'll be interesting to see how he pans out. And, Summer League, I could see him going crazy in Summer League, but I don't know. Come NBA time, I don't know if Amani Bates is going to be in our future.
All right. Top of the hour, Keith Smith is going to join us.
Can't wait.
From Spotrac, and he's an NBA insider, so we'll get the latest from him on what's going on with all the teams, see if we can get any inside info on what the Kings may be up to. That's coming up top of the hour.
Kessler Edwards will be playing on the Kings Summer League team.
Good.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Keegan Murray is listed on the Kings California Classic. Wow. Can't believe that. As is Neemias Queta, who I believe is still not.
Jerry likes him.
Not signed to an actual NBA contract at the moment. I'm whatever on Nemi. Like, people love him. People love to talk about him. He's maybe like the third center, but I just haven't seen anything that makes me feel like he's ready for NBA minutes. Like, at this point, he's going into his third NBA season. He's got to show something if you're going to continue to try and, develop him, because
I'll tell Jerry, Chris Watkins says you don't know what you're talking about, Jerry.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say it, but sure. If you want to, I did not say that. Definitely. I mean, he's getting to the point now where I'm ready. I'm just about ready to stop believing in Nemi. So you can tell him whatever you want.
We'll probably have him on here before long.
That's true.
You can tell him yourself.
Yeah.
Who would
That's
your
why
picks
I'm
be?
The bad boy of media.
I know.
Dang right.
I know. Interesting question was posed to the great Matt Barrows today in The Athletic. Who would be your picks here in answering this question? Which members of the San Francisco 49ers right now are going to the Hall of Fame? The Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame, that is.
Yes.
Not as visitors, but, being inside.
Right.
I want to be clear.
Yes. This was a really fun exercise to do.
Do you want to hear his answers?
I would
first?
love to hear his answers first.
He goes, of course, Trent Williams. Okay. Then he goes Bosa.
Okay.
Then he goes McCaffrey.
Okay.
Then he goes Fred Warner.
Okay.
Then he goes Kittle.
Okay. I think I might be smarter than Matt Barrows. I think that there's a name on there that he forgot.
Really?
Kyle Juszczyk?
Ah.
Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I mean, it's almost impossible, I would imagine, for a fullback to get into the Hall of Fame, but I was looking at some of his accolades earlier, and he's a 7-time Pro Bowler. Like, I don't think he's ever made the All-Pro team, but to be I can't think of the next best fullback. I looked up Mike Allscott. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler. I think if there is going to be a fullback to make the Hall of Fame, it'd probably be Kyle Juszczyk.
It's tough, like you said. I mean, look at the great Lorenzo Neal. Look how long he played and what he accomplished. and he gets nominated every now and then, but he doesn't come close to getting inducted.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. What about our guy Jake Moody?
Yes.
Is he on track at this point?
Yes.
A couple OTA 60-yarders.
I didn't even mention him because he's so obvious.
He's on my list. So, I mean, I have all of those. I think Trent Williams he's walking into the he might as well. They better start making his plaque now.
Well, he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
Matt Barrows points out there are some offensive linemen who got in who didn't win Super Bowls, and he would appear to be on that track.
Trent Williams is one of those guys. No, Trent Williams he's in. He's absolutely in. He's like if not Joe Thomas, he's the best. He's the best lineman of this generation. I think that it would be a shame if Trent Williams doesn't make the Hall of Fame. Bosa is. I mean, you can't win Defensive Player of the Year and not be a Hall of Famer.
To your point, by the way, Joe Thomas played for the Browns. The 11 seasons they had a winning record one time.
Ooh. Yeah. So there you go. Joe Thomas is walking into the Hall of Fame. I mean, Trent Williams spent a lot of time in Washington for some good teams for sure, but mainly some bad teams. I think Trent, especially with his time here in San Francisco, like he's stealed it in my opinion. Bosa's on his way. To me, I would take some catastrophic injury or something, knock on wood, if for Bosa to not make it, in my opinion.
Throughout the year, he was hurt, and he's averaging 14 sacks a season.
Right. The two that I think there's real conversation, and I think I'm leaning towards no, are Kittle and McCaffrey.
Ooh.
I think Kittle is close. Maybe he could benefit from another really good season or two. I just don't know if he's quite there yet. Like
he's a great tight end, but he doesn't, in this offense or whatever it is, he doesn't put up the numbers that tight ends need to put up to be Hall of Fame.
And like we're talking a tight end also. Like it's really tough as a tight end. Like if you look at, has he had a better career at this point than like Dallas Clark? Someone who spent tons of years in India. Like, there's just a lot of really, really good names out there. And I don't know if Kittle has never in his career, maybe one season, been the best tight end in football.
Right. His impact goes beyond the numbers, but tight ends typically are judged when it comes to the Hall of Fame largely by those numbers.
Right. Absolutely.
For example, he has yards receiving 5,254. Travis Kelce, for example, has 10,344.
Right, exactly. And so you're not going to beat that. Jeremy Shockey, I'm looking at, has 6,143 yards and 37 touchdowns. Like, I think Kittle's close again, maybe one or two big seasons. But I just don't think he's there yet. Never been the best tight end. He's always like a top 5 tight end. Never really been like one or two, Mark Andrews, Kittle, who else? I'm missing some obvious names out there, but he's always been one of the better ones, but I don't know if he's ever been the best. And then McCaffrey, he's got the receiving yards that are going to help his case a lot, but there's just, there's a lot of really good running backs out there that McCaffrey is better than, but I don't know if he's had the longevity at this point, and also just at this point, the team success to really garner a Hall of Fame bona fide. I'm not sure if I'm there yet on Christian McCaffrey.
He's one of only 3 players to have a 1,000-yard rushing and receiving season.
Yeah.
He could become the first guy to do that twice, but the first guy that did that, Roger Craig, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in. And, I think there's, you think about a guy like LaShawn McCoy. Like, is LaShawn McCoy going to make the Hall of? I think McCaffrey's probably talent wise more talented than LaShawn McCoy, but production wise, I just think he's maybe like one or two really big years away from stamping it. McCaffrey's definitely quality wise good enough, but I don't know if resume wise it's quite there yet.
Brock Purdy, automatic check.
No.
Absolutely. No. Hall of Famer.
No.
We'll circle back to that conversation.
No.
But coming up next, NBA insider Keith Smith joins us with the latest, as far as we know, as far as he knows, and he knows more than us, on NBA free agency. It's coming up. Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Get all the latest 49ers news heading into the 2023 season on Sactown Sports.
I think Brock was smart, and we kind of facilitated that he met with a bunch of different surgeons, The hope is he's ready for the regular season. We'll take it as it comes, as we're doing. He's working incredibly hard, and the early returns are really good.
Sactown Sports, Sacramento's official home for 49ers football.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Finally, the 4th of July sales event is here. Chad, what's going on at Hoblet?
Right now, you can lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe for only $379 a month for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing. That's a savings of up to $13,500, or you can save up to $92.50 off MSRP, plus get $37.50 in federal tax credits for a total savings of over $13,000.
So whether I lease or buy the new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe, I can save up to $13,000 or more?
Yeah, and now the only decision is which one you want, because we have a great selection of Wrangler 4xes with over 50 available.
Hey, find your perfect vehicle now when you search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com.
$13,500 in total net savings after $11,000 factory rebates and $2,500 dealer discount. Rebates include $7,500 federal tax credit, $3,000 carb rebate, and $500 California bonus cash. Must be California resident qualified. 36 monthly term, $49.95 cash due at signing, plus tax, license, and accessories on approved credit through Chrysler Capital. 25 cents per mile charge of over 10,000 miles per year. $92.50 total net savings after $57.50 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discount. Plus optional $37.50 tax credit may apply for buyers who meet current federal tax standards only. Subject to change. See your CPA for qualifications. For California residents only. 5 net savings. See dealer for details.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the IMAX experience.
I've been looking for this all my life.
Give him hell, Indiana Jones! See Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for showtimes and reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club for special member pricing on tickets and concession items each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you for Amy's Outdoor Living in Sacramento on El Camino near Watt and El Dorado Hills Town Center. They've got what you need for your 4th of July celebration. Now listen, Amy's going to pay all the sales tax on all of their huge selection of in-stock furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Their best selection of umbrellas in tons of sizes and colors. Amy's Outdoor Living is your grilling headquarters with Traeger, Weber, Big Green Egg. You gotta see those in-store savings. Free assembly and delivery on all grills for the 4th of July. And they've got a wonderful selection of rubs and sauces. Buy 4, get 10% off. And they've got 20% off home decor accessories. What more do you need? Amy's Outdoor Living on El Camino near Watt and inside Amy Ace Hardware right there in the El Dorado Town Center. Enjoy your 4th of July, and you tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all of your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Yeah, the heat is coming, but how hot is the free agency going to be around the NBA starting tomorrow? Let's find out. I'm Whitey. He's Watkins. Nice enough to join us. NBA insider from Spotrac and the front office show. Keith Smith with us on Sactown Sports. Keith, thanks so much for your time. Can we begin here by asking you about Harrison Barnes? It looked like he was leaving. That appears less likely now. Now, what, if anything, do we know about Harrison Barnes and how likely he is to stay with the Kings?
Yeah, I never bought into fully that the Kings, being able to create cap space meant that Harrison Barnes was 100% out. I always thought there was a chance that what the Kings would do is, hey, let's negotiate an extension, or, maybe if this has to carry into free agency, let's get you back, but at a lower number than the one that you were on. Gives us a little bit more flexibility. We can use that either to sign another player, renegotiate and extend Domantas Sabonis, whatever they want to do. But I never fully bought into the idea that Harrison Barnes was going to be out of the picture in Sacramento because I think he's just been a really important player to that team.
It seems like Kyle Kuzma has been a popular name that's been brought up here around Sacramento. No actual reporting saying that the Kings are interested, but on Monday you were on Cattles and Rami here and said that you think Kuzma's probably going to fall somewhere near the $25 million range. Do you think with backup big and other positions that the Kings still need to address, that dropping that much money, $25 million potentially on Kuzma is a good way of spending their available cap?
I don't think it'd be a bad way. I think as long as you have a plan in place to get yourself a backup big or, re-sign Trey Lyles with, some money that's left. I think what's getting lost a little bit in this whole, new CBA world and everything that's all kind of flying at us so very quickly is the room exception went way up. So if you go under the cap, you can spend your cap space and you still have $7.7 million to spend after that. And, that's for backup bigs, that's not bad money, right? Mm-hmm. Especially for a guy, that might be coming in knowing, all right, my role is 15, 20 minutes a night. That's all I'm going to play. So yeah, I think as long as you have a good plan for what you're going to do beyond that, that makes complete sense. And I think, not to poke too much fun, but unlike Kings front offices of the past, maybe, I think this one has a plan versus just, let's do it and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. See, who told you he knows everything. Yeah, exactly. Keith Smith with us. Follow him on Twitter, Keith Smith, NBA, NBA Insider. Keith, there are reports that the Lakers are very interested in Bruce Brown. He's a guy that we think might fit the Kings. We don't know that they have interest, but do we know whether Bruce Brown has any interest in the Lakers?
Yeah, that's not anything I've necessarily heard much about, what his interests are beyond what he stated in, let's call it a celebratory mode at the Nuggets parade. He wants to stay there. But I think, beyond that, I think what Bruce Brown's probably looking at is, hey, this might be my one chance to really cash in and make a bunch of money. And whether that's from a team with cap space that signs him for a whole lot, or that's one of these teams that can create the mid-level. What that does say to me is the Lakers they're definitely planning, hey, we're going to be an over-the-cap team, but they're not necessarily going to be in the range of let's re-sign all of our guys. So that kind of gives us a sense of, all right, they're definitely going to make some moves there in LA if they're planning on having the mid-level to offer to players, and that becomes a little bit more of an interesting situation for them.
Yeah, we know how Michael Malone feels about Bruce Brown. He doesn't want him to go anywhere. I'm curious, Keith, with the Houston Rockets have $60 million in cap space. Is it kind of a situation, and we heard I think this morning that they're interested in Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks as soon as free agency hits. Are they in a situation where they can pretty much just outprice everyone if they really want to go out and get somebody? I mean, they also had some Kuzma whispers the other day as well.
Yeah, to an extent, and they're going to become, kind of two different things. One is maybe that is how it actually plays out. And if the guy is, hey, I have a, $15 million offer from Team X or to re-sign where I am, they may come in and say, hey, we'll parachute in with 20 and kind of grab you that way. The other thing that is they're going to be the cap space boogeyman for every single free agent that's out there, where their agent's going to be, hey, the Rockets have interest and they have money. So you got to parse through some of that stuff at this time of year. But all indications are that Houston is kind of done with the, hey, we're slow playing it, we're rebuilding, we're working through. Every indication is we're going to go get some guys this summer. We're really going to try to push this rebuild forward.
Catching up with Keith Smith from Spotrac. What about Brook Lopez? I know some have linked him to the Rockets. A lot of Kings fans are hoping that he might take a look at Sacramento. I know the Warriors have been interested, at least their fans have been interested in Brook Lopez. I've been assuming all along he's going to stay with Milwaukee. What do we know or think we know about his free agency situation, Keith?
Yeah, when he was asked about it the other day, a pretty comical answer. He said, "I'd like to play in Seattle. They should have a team again." So I thought, that was good. The Lopez twins, they have a lot of fun, with this, which is how it should be, right? But I think with Brook, my guess is he's going to have offers. He's probably going to weigh them all and ultimately go back to Milwaukee. I think for him, there's two things. One, right, he's coming off the best years of his career that he's ever had with the Bucks over the last several seasons. They stuck with him through an entire year, almost an entire year that he missed when he had back surgery. And I think he looks at it and says, hey, if I resign, we've got Giannis. If we can keep Chris Middleton, we're a title contender again. Let's just get this done. I think for him, it's probably, I don't need to cash in and make every last penny I can make. I want to win in my last few years in the league and have this, be competing for something. So I think you see him stay in Milwaukee.
Keith, it will be a huge favor to me. Can you please explain the mid-level exception situation for the Kings? Like, does that $12.5 million, does that come out of the 34 in available cap space, or is that almost its own separate exception or contract that they can throw on top of the 34 mil?
Yeah, it's kind of actually something entirely different.
Oh my goodness.
So if they have, 30 million in cap space or whatever the number ends up being in cap space, they'll have the room exception, which will be that $7.7 million exception. That's how it works. You can't have both. You can have both cap space and the full mid-level. Now, if they stay over the cap, let's say they don't even go the cap space route at all, and they just say, hey, we're re-signing Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles and X, Y, and Z, and we're going to stay over the cap. They'll have the $12.4 million non-taxpayer mid-level, and then they can go and use that to sign a player that you can split that up amongst a couple different players if they need to. So you'll either have that, or you'll have cap space and the room exception, or that non-taxpayer exception.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I got
Keith
that.
Smith.
I'll listen to that I'll listen to that back a couple more times.
It appears, Keith, that this is fairly underwhelming free agent class here. What is the likelihood, in your opinion, of a big stunner, Kyrie to the Lakers or something here, something that no one really is expecting right now, actually coming to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting these reports that Kyrie's going to meet with the Phoenix Suns, which tells me they got promoted to the Premier League where there's no salary cap and they can do whatever they want, right? Yes. It's like I don't even begin to understand, how that would work. And this is what I do for a living is kind of make these things, happen. So I'm not sure, what's going on there, but the reality is this summer, yeah, you're right. It's not a great free agent class, right? It's the big names, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Chris Middleton, they're mostly expected to re-sign with their teams. We just saw yesterday Nikola Vucevic, who was probably a top 10 free agent, re-upped with the Bulls because I'm not even going to play in free agency. I'm just going to go. And that's become the way things have gone in the NBA over the last several years. Players have gone more the extension route. As opposed to, it used to be, I got to get to free agency because that's the only way I can cash in. Now guys are far more likely to extend. And part of what comes with that is, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think we've all, to some level made our peace with it is these players can sign an extension. We all know we get 2 years in and they're not happy. They just ask for a trade. Right. And for me personally, I don't have an issue with that because teams can decide, a year in, yeah, we don't like the way this is going to trade. And for whatever reason, it seems to me, well, that's okay. But if a player does it, it feels like it's wrong, right? So I don't like when it's trade me, but only trade me to X team and that, tanks their trade. That kind of stuff gets, too much for me. But, as long as it's handled reasonably, it's okay. But that's what's kind of, I don't want to say killed free agency, but what free agency has become is rather than a whole bunch of guys signing, it's become trades and, a lot of other things that go on. I think to really kind of very long way of answering a very simple question, I think there is a chance we see a blockbuster trade come out of nowhere, kind of akin to what the Rudy Gobert deal was a year ago where, that happened. We're like, wait, what? And it's one of those ones where you're almost, I know my thought process when I saw that come on my screen was, right, is that the real Woj? Is that, what's that check? And I, looking at my notifications,
Exactly.
and checking my list and everything. And I'm like, all right, it's the real one. And we may get one of those that comes down.
He's a great follow on Twitter, and he's very funny. Keith Smith, NBA. Thank you, Keith. We appreciate it. Get your rest. We don't want you to pull anything. Know you're going to be busy the next couple of days. We hope to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. He's very funny. Yeah.
Oh, hilarious. I know. And I was hoping he would make I saw on his Twitter account he made a Mean Girls joke reference to the Phoenix cap space situation. The limit does not exist. They truly do not care about your hard caps or anything like that. They're just, if Kyrie goes over there, I feel bad for Keith because he's going to have to figure that out.
Yeah.
That's tough.
There's talk about the new CBA. There needs to be like a percentage set for these cap experts to explain how the NBA cap works, because it always seems like a dissertation. We're like, no, well, this is how it actually works.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I know. We're coming right back with a look at Wemby. He is already second in the NBA in this category. Wow. Next, Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Apparently, there is a cage match brewing between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I hope this happens for many reasons. Number one, it just goes with the downfall of our society. Number two, nothing more fun than seeing super ultra mega billionaires just beat the hell out of each other. Number three, it would obviously be a terrible, terrible, terrible fight.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Here is the latest, such as it is, on this Kyrie Irving, situation. NBA star, according to Chris Haynes on Twitter, NBA star Kyrie Irving intends to meet with the Phoenix Suns when the free agency period begins on June 30th. League sources tell NBA on TNT and Bleacher Report. Okay. I mean, there's not a lot there. He intends. He could obviously say, well, I intended to, but I changed my mind.
Yeah.
So, and it's not coming necessarily from the Suns. It sounds like it's from Kyrie's camp. Interesting, but I don't know what, if anything, is there.
No clue. I'm just glad that when you say Kyrie Irving situation, it actually means something that involves basketball.
Yeah.
That's what I'm happy about. So
if you're Kevin Durant, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're Kevin Durant, how do you feel about that? Stop following me.
Interesting. Yeah. I would not feel great if I were KD. I would just look at the track record and be like, look, man, like, I know we're friends, but I just don't think that it works out between us. Like, I wouldn't want it.
Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kyrie Irving.
I know they said it in Golden State, and Golden State proved it to be wrong, but Whitey, at the end of the day, there is only one basketball.
Yeah.
And you cannot share it amongst all 4 of those guys who probably need to all have the ball in their hands a good amount of the game. I mean, like, there's just going to be no touches for anybody at that point. Maybe here's the thing, and this just popped into my head. The only way Kyrie Irving probably could fit is if maybe there's a sign and trade with DeAndre Ayton. Maybe Ayton goes over to Dallas and Kyrie goes over to Phoenix that way. But even then, I mean, it doesn't solve the issue of those 4 guys still needing the ball in their hand, and you still got to fill out the rest of the roster as well. Those are
small.
That's
too.
even more guys. If you're throwing Kyrie in there, that's just the load management all-stars.
That's a great point you raised, because I just saw somewhere today. Where was it? Was it Dallas? There was a story today. It had nothing to do with Kyrie, but it said that I think it said Dallas was close before the draft to doing something about it on Eaton. So I wonder if that yeah.
Why would they do that? Let's do the Windhorse fingers. Why? Why would Kyrie
now I got to
do
track down that story.
Yeah,
but that's interesting. I could see maybe you'd be very small, but maybe if Kyrie said, you know what, I'm gonna be a pure point guard. I'm setting everybody up. Because really, he could do it if he wanted.
I would just laugh if he said it. I would be like, okay, Kyrie, for sure. It doesn't. I mean, Bradley Beal's already having poor Bradley Beal. He's like, guys, like, am I going to get any shots? Because I don't think Kyrie's going to be the one that suffers. It's definitely not going to be Devin Booker is the one who suffers.
I think to a degree, Durant and Booker may still be figuring that out.
Right, absolutely.
Like, now we got another guy. And then, wait,
another guy on top of that? It's like, it's just, this is new owner syndrome to me, where Matt Ishbia is just like, sure, I don't care. Bring them all over.
Yeah.
I want to have a star team. Right. What could go wrong? Well, it sounds like if he can't go, well, then we'll have 3 other guys. This is screaming failure to me. And if you're going to reunite KD and Kyrie, I mean, we literally just saw this not work out. I don't understand what the philosophy would be with trying to run it back with even more players that would kind of complicate things. And then again, like, you still have to build out the rest of your roster. I don't know how they're going to do that with just the amount of money locked between those 4 guys.
To the best of my recollection, I know that James Harden, according to reports, had issues with Kyrie.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons he finally decided he wanted out, because Kyrie wouldn't get vaccinated, and James Harden's just like, I don't want any part of this.
It's bad if James Harden is like, I don't know if that guy loves ball.
But I don't think KD, at least publicly, ever said anything that
bad
was
about Kyrie.
Bad
it was always Kai's on Kai's
time. He even said they didn't treat him well.
Right.
The team didn't treat him with proper respect.
That's not good. That's not. That tells me that both of them are equally delusional, and it's just. I mean, it's a nightmare situation waiting to happen. And if I'm a Phoenix fan, like, yeah, it's great for jersey sales. It'll be cool to say we had all of those guys on our team, and sure, like, you're definitely going to be a whole lot better than the Houston Rockets or San Antonio Spurs. But come playoff time, I just don't know if all that talent is going to work out. Like, especially, who's going to defend people at that point? It's not going to be Kyrie Irving. It's not going to be Bradley Beal on the other side of 30. It's definitely not going to be KD. It's just, it looks great on paper. I don't see it. They'll be good. They'll be really, really good. I just don't see it being a title team, which is the only reason why you should spend that much money.
Couple of notes here on this situation. According to Sports Illustrated, maybe you saw this. This was actually 2 days ago. Mavs, Suns, DeAndre Ayton trade, ? Talks could resume, says NBA Insider. So apparently they did have talks.
Poor Rashawn.
And then we have this from Mark Stein. This is breaking, but this was a few hours ago. Dallas is expected to come to terms early in free agency with center. We talked about him this week. Andre Drummond.
Breaking. Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't really understand that. Didn't they drafted Derek Lively. They just traded for Rashawn Holmes. I'm not sure if center is what they need. I think that they could probably use some other ball handlers, maybe some shooters, maybe some wing defenders to replace Dorian Finney-Smith, and
all part of this big massive deal that's brewing.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. I mean, this is getting me excited for tomorrow, but I don't understand where this is going. I'm going to be an observer for all of this. I'm tired of trying to speculate where everyone's going to go and what all of these rumors mean, because it just seems like 2 hours from now it's all going to be old news.
It's harder in basketball than in any other sport to figure out. Sometimes there's a trade, and way back when, you could say, oh, well, they like this guy because of this, and they're getting rid of this guy. Yeah, but now, especially when you factor in exceptions, cap space, and expiring contracts, sometimes it's like, why'd they make this trade? I don't have
intentions are tough.
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to spend like an hour looking into the details of it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of almost trending toward, and the John Collins trade the other day made me feel this. It feels like the NBA is almost, to your point, getting to where the NFL kind of is, where it's like, okay, Christian McCaffrey goes for 2 second-rounders, like something about that. I feel like Christian McCaffrey is a great player. He should be like, the value of trades just don't seem to make sense. And then it could be a product of the Rudy Gobert trade, like Keith mentioned last summer. I mean, that just blew everybody out the water. I think that kind of just reset value for everybody.
Right.
Now we're living in this world where who knows what value
That's
even
why,
is.
yeah, I was a little surprised to hear Keith say we could have some big trades because it costs so much now in draft capital to bring in anybody who's really good.
Right. I mean, OG Anunoby, like the Raptors have been begging to trade him and Siakam for what feels like 2 years now. And it's just there's just a clear misunderstanding of what those guys' value is on the Raptors side. And it just feels impossible to make trades these days.
Hey, how are you doing with the news that Wemby is not coming to the California Classic? Are you all right?
I'm upset, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, and I understand it. I get why the Spurs would want to not rush out their 7'8" center, or however tall he is these days.
Well, here's some Wemby news. You'll have to take our word for it because you can't go see him at the California Classic. The official height for him, the Spurs.
Is this with or without shoes?
This is measured without shoes per NBA guidelines.
Okay. I would realistically guess he's got to be 7.
It's something and a half at the end. Just so you know, something and a half.
I'll say 7'2" and a half.
7'3" and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a half inch taller than he was. That he said he was in October when he was in Las Vegas.
Still growing.
Yeah. 7'3" and a half figure puts him on pace to be the NBA's second tallest player this season. That's right. Boban Marjanovic. Anybody need anything else? Because I can reach it. Here's your mustard. He's
I like the Cheez-Its commercial personally.
Yeah. He's at 7'4".
I'm a fan of the John Wick 3.
Yes.
You mean the goldfish?
Goldfish. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to mess up the bag there. Yes,
I don't
goldfish.
I know everyone loves it. He's dribbling. He's
bouncing it.
Yes,
He's bouncing it.
He's not an
it's
idiot.
Kind of annoying too.
Yeah.
It's
You're right. He's
annoying.
bouncing it. Feel free to jump in.
It's still bouncing. Still bouncing it. Bouncing it. Yes.
So Boban 7'4" this past season. Porzingis is 7'3".
I think Embiid is also listed 7'2" or so as well. So he's now officially the second tallest player in the NBA.
He will be, I guess, because the league hasn't started yet, or the season started.
Sure.
But yes, he's on track to be second tallest player in the NBA. Wow! And of course, the amazing thing is, you watch him and he's like kind of plays like a guard.
Yes, he's very limber. He kind of moves like Porzingis does. Porzingis is really the only other person who's that massive, but that fluid of an athlete. And even then, like, I think Wemby might even be more fluid than he is.
Wemby would have been the tallest player at the Combine. I don't believe
he did not attend
the Combine, but just barely because Zach Edey from Purdue.
Well, he dropped out.
7'3" and a quarter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Edey went back to college. I'm excited to see him next year. I would have honestly really liked Zach Edey for like the last pick for the Kings. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, and to me, that speaks to Wemby's floor again, where he's at, even if his offensive game, Bobby Gerald came on the show maybe like a couple months ago and expressed some concern about Wemby's offensive game, how it might not be as tight as people have kind of made it out to be. But even on the defensive end, to me, he walks into the league and is Rudy Gobert today. Like, I think rookie year is averaging at least 2.5 blocks. And I just think his defensive impact is going to be massive from day one.
He's going to get shoved around a little bit.
Yes, that's going to be the problem, right? Is he's
going to get shoved around a lot.
Nikola Jokic is going to toss him to the floor. Joel Embiid is going to have a day with him. Even like Domantas Sabonis, someone who just, I just think physicality. Even
some of the various Plumlees may push him.
Absolutely. No, I really do think so. I think that he's going to struggle just with the physicality of the NBA. But besides that, I mean, he's going to be a great defender, and I think he's going to figure it out. I mean, look at Rudy Gobert now. He came in as a twig. He's pretty, pretty cut up now. Porzingis, same thing. Giannis, same thing. I think unless you're KD or Chet Holmgren, I just think that you end up putting on weight.
With free agency nearly upon us, can you name the Kings' most impactful free agent since 2010?
Since 2010? Oh, my gosh.
We'll tell you who it was. You think about it.
Yeah, please.
We'll tell you who it was. Next, Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Need your Niners fix? Sactown Sports has you covered.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that he's throwing really good passes. I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. He just looks like he's having fun, because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Get all your 49ers coverage leading into the 2023 season at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Attention contractors and DIY enthusiasts. Don't miss the ultimate DeWalt sale event at Fasteners Tool Outlet in Sacramento next Saturday, July 8th. Unbeatable prices on DeWalt power tools and one-day only deals with free batteries and tools. Grab a 4-piece brushless combo kit for $299 and save up to 50% on select hand tools and accessories. Again, that's July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, it's Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. Built different, built better, and built to last. All made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Just go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Now is the time to take care of your 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty.
The Gold Rush Classic takes place July 13th and 14th in Rancho Murrieta. Come join the fun and play golf with a celebrity, or just check out the concert. The Gold Rush Classic, where the stars and guitars shine. For more info, go to goldrushclassic.org.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlotta with your Sactown Sports Headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Good question here on the YouTube chat from Scooter916. We were just talking about Wemby He is on track to be the second tallest player in the NBA behind only Boban Marjanovic. Here's your mustard. And Scooter916 asks, how tall is Taco Fall?
Oh, man. I think Taco was like 7'5".
7'6".
7'6".
Listed at 7'6",
Wow.
yeah.
That is.
I have one of his rookie cards.
Massive. Do you really? Yeah.
I think he's
went
playing
to the
in China.
Yeah, he was playing for the Maine Celtics for a while. The Canton Charge, I believe.
He has probably the weirdest free throw form of anyone I've ever seen.
I don't know if I've
you've seen him
it,
lately because he was in Summer League a couple years ago. There's a really funny video. It's like it's one of those things where you watch and go, I don't understand what he did. And he was shooting in Summer League and he shoots and they show this like girl in stands and she's like, what happened?
Does he like shoot it over his head or is it more of like a?
It's
okay,
basically
just everywhere.
It's physically and mechanically impossible.
Okay,
the way he
gotcha.
shoots.
I'll look it
But
up.
maybe he's it's been a while since he's been over here.
Right.
It's possible that he has smoothed things out.
Right, possibly, but that was kind of the problem with Taco Fall was he was not the smoothest player. I mean, he was 7'6", like he could barely walk around, and he's naturally going to be a little bit clunky of a player. I'm watching the free throw right now. Oh, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So he has the ball with two hands, and then as he brings it up, he just like loses it. He just that left hand just drifts and then comes back. That is okay. That's ugly. That is probably the ugliest thing
Did
I've
he
ever
make
seen.
it?
He did not. No, he front rimmed it very, very hard. And I did see the girl who
Taco Fall is currently playing for the Flying Tigers in the China Basketball Association.
Oh, he's got to be quite the spectacle over there. I mean, he's.
What are his numbers, Chris?
Probably like 40.
Mister, I know what team he's on. What are his numbers, huh? What's his true shooting
percentage, huh? That's really what I want to know.
You're probably too young to remember Manute Bowl, Bol's dad.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, he was the first, I think he was 7'6", and Don Nelson would have him shooting threes.
Right.
And now we say, oh yeah, stretch five, whatever. Back then it was like, what?
Manute was pretty decent too, right? It wasn't just like
for then, back then.
Yeah, it wasn't just like a freak show that it's like, oh yeah, put in Rafe LaFrenz in there and just go laugh at him or whatever.
Yeah.
Sean Bradley, I'm sorry. He was like a legitimately good player, which is surprising because I don't feel like we've truly had like Yao Ming was the last like freak. I feel like giant, massive human that really, truly like lived up and could move their feet well enough to play NBA basketball.
Yeah, that was one of the, I don't know, to me, a funny line. Jeff Ruland, I think it was, one of his teammates in Washington said, where Manute is from, when you become a man, you have to kill a lion with a spear.
Oh.
But he said Manute didn't kill a lion with a spear. He killed one with his free throw. I thought that was funny.
He couldn't shoot free throws? He could shoot threes, but couldn't shoot free throws?
I just remember the line.
Yeah,
I don't know. He was got a weird kind of a slingshot. Look out, here he
I would
comes.
imagine, they didn't quite have shot doctors back in the day, so I can't imagine that thing was pretty.
Taco Fall averaged 13 points and 10 rebounds a game in the China League.
That's it?
Yeah.
10 rebounds?
Yeah. And he averaged 51.4% from the free throw line.
Ooh.
Okay.
Gosh.
All right. Still needs more work.
Yeah.
Who has
2.4 turnovers a game.
Oh my gosh. How is he turning the ball over? Why is he putting the ball on the ground? Just put the ball up here.
You know what?
Just
Probably,
two hands up.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably,
travels. Yeah, probably.
Shuffle the feet on the post move.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're really stingent about the rules over there in China for their CBA.
Who is, I think you've looked this up. You may know more about this than I do. I think you do. The best free agent signing in Kings history.
It's listed as Vlade Divac.
Yeah,
and just about everywhere you check, it's Vlade Divac is pretty universally the number one free agent the Kings have ever signed, which says a lot because, especially statistically, like nothing special about what I mean. Obviously, the on the court impact was something completely
he was
different.
A huge part of the best teams.
Yeah,
Sacramento's ever had.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sure, absolutely. He
went on to become the general manager.
I heard that happened. It's more just like the Kings have never done better than that. Like never. I mean, God bless Vlade, but like the fourth or fifth best player on those teams, or if I guess I don't know about best, maybe most important. I guess. I don't know. It's just to me that's very telling of the Kings' history with free agency. They just don't get big name free agents ever in the history of ever. I can't think of the last really big name that the Kings brought in via free agency. It's pretty much always been via trade or by the
Yeah.
draft.
See, that was a pretty good offseason. As you know, they drafted Jay Will. They trade Mitch Richmond for Chris Webber. And then they signed like Vernon Maxwell and John Barry and Vlade. If I may remember this wrong, but I think Vlade was like, I want to go back to the Lakers, but couldn't. Like, oh, Sacramento's close to LA. So, okay.
That's always
I'll
good
go
enough.
there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow. And it was one of the most fun teams to watch ever was
Right.
Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because he was such a good, he and Webb were such good passers.
right. Exactly. He was a great connector and also a great teammate too. I think that was a big part of just that the Kings in the early 2000s was just the vibe that they had in that locker room. Like, it just seems like they were having the best of time and winning games on top of that. And I think Vlade was just a massive part of the culture that team was bringing. And I think that's honestly a big reason why he was eventually named the GM, was just Vivek really wanted to bring culture to Sacramento, and Vlade was the ultimate culture guy.
The opposite of Draymond and Chris Paul.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I know where you're going. We'll see. Mr. Jason 916 says, as far as the best free agent the Kings have signed since 2010, Malik Monk.
He's entered the chat for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I don't think you can give him more impact than Vlade at the moment, but I'll have to look at the list. But he's probably I would say almost definitely a top 3
huge
free
impact
agent signing. Right.
Yeah, especially because he showed parts of his game that we didn't know he had
Right.
in terms of the playmaking.
Passing, yeah, absolutely. And he was the Kings' second best player in
He
the
was
postseason.
fearless.
He was incredible against the Warriors, and I think if he can put another season like that together, I think he's probably number 2. And if he re-signs here in Sacramento, he could definitely be the best free agent the Kings have ever signed.
ESPN selection, the most impactful free agent the Kings have had since 2010. He signed
since 2010. It's got to
Yeah.
be Malik. I mean, there's no way it's anyone but Malik.
He signed for 3 years,
Hey,
$16
it's not
million
Malik.
in 2014. Over his 3 years with the Kings,
Omri Caspi.
one of their most reliable and consistent players, even as his role changed from starter to reserve. One of Sacramento's bright spots.
Oh my gosh!
During its 17 years of darkness before beaming into the playoffs in 2022-23. I believe this is Malika Andrews' sister wrote this, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra, thank you. Darren Collison.
I thought that's where you were going.
That's where she's going. I'm
since
I'm just reading
2010.
it. Yeah.
Shoot, man, she might not be right. I mean, Malik is the answer right now, but I mean, like, Malik has already done more than what Darren did. But Darren that's a deep cut. I mean, Darren Collison was incredibly solid, nothing special, and again, to me,
He's a really good player,
perfectly fine player, and bottom 10 starter, but probably a top 5 reserve, and he was the Kings starter for a good handful
He's
of
a
years.
backup with the Clippers, right? He kind of backed up
with
Chris
CP.
Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, then came here and got a chance to shine. They basically, if I'm not mistaken,
benched
they
him when
replaced Isaiah
Rondo.
Thomas.
Yes, yeah, they replaced Isaiah Thomas with Darren Collison, and then Collison got replaced, if you will, by Rajon Rondo, and then he had some off the floor. Collison had some off the floor stuff that kind of ended his career here in Sacramento. But I think that's probably right. But again, to me, that just speaks to the lack of free agency that the Kings really indulge in. Like, they do not get anybody good in free agency. And Darren Collison, who was a very, very solid Sacramento King for a good handful of years, but he should not be, for most franchises, that should not be your best free agent in the past 13
Kings
years.
did get a huge name in that time.
Vince
as a free
Carter.
agent, Vince Carter.
Right.
And that was one of those ones that's just like, oh, it's just cool to have him here.
Yes, it was
Well,
just
he
cool
could
to
have
have
gone
the
to the
15
Warriors,
years.
I think, and maybe won a ring. And he's like,
He
yeah,
wanted
but
to
I
play.
won't get to play.
Yeah, he actually
I
wanted
want
to
a
play.
ring. I want to play.
Yeah, and that's in hindsight probably not the right decision.
Well, that's for him.
He did have he had a moment here in Sacramento. There was I believe game winner against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He hit in the corner. That was a really cool moment. He was a good mentor for De'Aaron. And then, as he went into his media phase, was very favorable to the Kings and everything he would talk about. So, I think Vince is honestly probably a top 3 signing since 2010, which again speaks to the Kings' terrible free agent.
Have you ever heard of
past.
Terry Tyler? Terry Tyler was the first free agent the Kings signed.
No, I haven't.
1986, and he was with the Pistons. They signed him to an offer sheet, and then the Kings had to go back and say, okay, if you won't match, we'll give you a second round pick and like the rights to a pick swap. That's how they kept a free agent. It was a little different then.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if that's legal. I think that's just considered a sign and trade at this point.
Yeah. Are the Kings closer than they've ever been now to being maybe a free agent destination?
I think so. I mean, with the cap space, and with the fact that they're coming off of a winning season, this feels like the time to strike. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, I mean, if they go after Kyle Kuzma, that's probably the biggest name that they've signed since like Vlade, honestly, which would be crazy. I just
really hope that doesn't happen.
I do too. I
do
also,
you really?
No, I hope that doesn't happen. I also don't hope that doesn't happen. I don't think that the juice is going to be worth the squeeze on that one. I feel like Kuzma is a perfectly fine player, but where you really want him to be is like a third, fourth, maybe even probably fourth option. I just don't think he's going to accept that role. I just can't see it.
Coming up next, what is the most historic sports event that you ever actually witnessed that you were there for? As we look back on a perfect but sad reminder of the A's glorious past in Oakland coming up. Oh, that'll be fun. And in case you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic. Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We're looking at a hotter day today for your Thursday. Plan around the heat. Take advantage of the morning when it is comfortable outside, because by the afternoon, we're looking at highs in the range of 98 to 102. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. At Elk Grove Honda, we include many benefits that a private seller just can't match. Our Honda-trained technicians only certify our Hondas if they pass a thorough 182-point inspection, and our certified pre-owned Hondas are under 5 years old. So you know you're getting the newest Hondas in prime condition. See our exceptional selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Sacramento Kings basketball is back this summer. Catch 6 games of NBA action and fun for the whole family when the California Classic Summer League returns on July 3rd and 5th. The Kings will host the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and newly added San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets with the number 1 and number 2 NBA draft picks. 2-day passes start at just $42 and include access to all 6 games. Visit kings.com/California Classic for more information and to buy your tickets today.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Summertime is a great time to get your home evaluated for solar, and while you're at it, make sure your roof is in good shape for all seasons. Hey, Jason Ross here to tell you about ACR Solar and Home Services. Go to acrsolar.com to find out all the different things that they can provide for you. And while we're all watching utility costs go up, along with everything else, why not make the most of the sunshine beating down on your roof? Harness that solar power and cut those rising utility bills while at the same time improving the value of your home. ACR Solar and Home Services makes it easy with a simple evaluation that'll show you just what it would take to get your home generating savings that help your bottom line and help protect the environment. So start now, and while you're there, ACR Solar and Home Services can make sure your roof is in prime condition. So just go to acrsolar.com and start your savings today. ACR Solar and Home Services, quality, value, and integrity since 1979.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Vince Carter, who's had a terrific night, now working against Jay Crowder. Digs back toward the paint, doubled briefly by LeBron. Man-to-man, 3 in the clock, shakes, spins, fall away in the air. He scores another one. Vince Carter is just amazing tonight. 24 points. Kings lead 106-92. He's hit 10 of 12 from the floor.
Man.
Half man, half amazing, Vince Carter.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's one of those, oh, yeah, he was on the Kings.
Yes, definitely going to be one of those where, yeah, you look back in 15 years and it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Did he end his career? I don't think he ended his career with the Kings.
I thought he did.
He went to Atlanta.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, that makes sense because Atlanta's obviously got all the TV stuff over there. So try to get an early start.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You want to shoot us a text or you want to give us a call. In fact, let's talk to David right now on Sactown Sports. David is one of those pro Kuzma guys, Chris. Hey, David, thanks for listening. What's up?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm on the Kuzma train. I liked him ever since I saw him on the Lakers. But what I think is important is the fact that I trust Brown and the coaching staff to keep him in check because he doesn't let people just go off and do their own thing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. All right.
So I like what he brings with the rebounding. He's got some height. If they can get him to play a little bit of defense and then shoot at a better percentage without such high volume, I think he'll be a good asset.
I got you.
Yeah.
You may be right, and they may very well do that. I agree with you on the rebounding. It's just he's going to be so expensive, most likely. I'm not willing to take that risk as far as him. Can he fit his game into the way the Kings play? I don't know that he really wants to, so I'm not willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
I do see the upside, but for me, I'm out.
Everything I keep hearing about people who are positive on Kuzma is the measurables are there and like the idea is there. But then Kyle Kuzma, the actual like you just mentioned, can we get him to play defense and can we get him to fit into the offense? Well, instead of signing somebody who you want, especially to $25 million or whatever it's going to be, why don't you just pay somebody less who will, fit into that mold? Like you don't always have to try and acquire as much talent as possible. Again, like it's a team sport. Sometimes it's about people fitting into their role and just excelling in that role. And yes, it's nice to have people who can do multiple things, but especially when you're talking about a guy who if you're replacing Harrison Barnes, quote unquote, you're really only looking for someone to get 7 to 10 shot attempts. And you don't need somebody who's excellent to fill that role. To me, you just need somebody who knows what they're doing. And Kyle Kuzma shot 17.8 attempts per game last year. That's a ton. I don't see him going from 17 down to 10. If anything, it'll be like 17 to 14. And even that, I don't like the fit. And I just think that there's other guys out there that you could try and just get value for. Like, again, like, especially if you're a GM, if you're Monty McNair, it's not good to pay face value for a player that you're hoping to fill a role. It's good to sign somebody to a lesser contract and have them outperform that contract. That's how you get value, and that's how you can also build depth amongst your roster. It's not just about getting as much top-end talent as possible. Sometimes it's about really making sure that you have a solid foundation and a lot of other pieces that you can go to at any point.
David obviously has watched basketball a long time and knows what he's talking about.
No, for sure.
Here's where I would quibble with his point. I think Kyle Kuzma knows the way the Kings want to play, and if they are even talking, he knows what else is out there, and the Kings know, hey, Kyle, this is the way we play. Right. I think Kyle Kuzma's going to know ahead of time, and if it is, you know what, we're not going to have as many shots for you.
Yeah.
We want Keegan Murray to become our guy.
Exactly.
I think my guess is Kyle Kuzma would see that and say, That's fine, but I'm going to look elsewhere.
I want to go to Houston. I want to go somewhere else. And I think that's mainly it as well. I just think people are viewing this a little bit too much from the Sacramento perspective too. Of sure, he might be he'd be an overqualified fit for that, and that's awesome. But why would Kyle Kuzma sign up for that? Why wouldn't Kyle Kuzma go to a situation like Houston? What about Kyle Kuzma's past says that he's the type of guy who's really focused on winning right now? I just don't think that that's really who he is, and that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Kyle Kuzma thinks he's a certain caliber of player, and he very well might be. I just don't think Sacramento is the right situation for him to be that guy.
We'll talk more about that top of the hour. There is one school of thought that says you got to be aggressive here. So we'll get to that. But I just wanted to address some of the responses here. We got to the question I threw out before we went to break. Last night, perfect game for Domingo Herman, who threw, 70 curveballs, whatever it was. And he's just swinging and swinging. So it's a perfect game. And that's baseball history. The first one since King Felix did it. But I asked the question, what was the most historic thing that you ever actually saw? And we got some great answers on the YouTube chat. My favorite one, what we got, I was at Matt Cain's perfect game. That's from awesome. Clint K. Tom F says, I was at a game where Adam Morrison played. That's rare, right? That's just mean.
So you weren't at the Adam Morrison game where he was crying on the floor, but you were at a Adam Morrison. I assume Bobcats. I assume a Bobcats game. That's pretty rare. That's pretty rare.
Do you remember there was a debate? Who's going to be better, Adam Morrison or J.J. Redick?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. He knew.
He knows what he's doing, that guy.
John Williams, the great composer, says 1973 World Series A's championship.
How about that?
Dwayne Baker, 1982, and Ricky stole 4 bases.
Wow.
Passed Lou Brock's single-season record against the Brewers.
That's awesome.
So sad we got some A's moments
I
in
know.
there. So sad. That's what was sad to me last night. It reminded me of Dallas Braden with a perfect game in Oakland. Catfish Hunter with a perfect game.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of Catfish Hunter. Nobody saw that. Literally nobody saw it. You might have seen it on TV.
Yeah, there was like 6,000. Someone on Twitter told me there were about 6,200 and something people at that game.
Oh, that's about average attendance this year for Oakland. So
there's that picture of Catfish. And he's getting ready to throw the pitch, and behind
there's not
him
a
just
soul.
Sea of empty seats. Good seats available.
Yeah, great seats available. But no one's there to see that.
But that was baseball.
Does it really
history.
even count if no one's there to see it?
That's the true measure of whether you're a fan of a baseball team. If they're getting no hit, do you want to see them break it up, or do you want to? No, I want to see a no hitter.
Just in general, I don't want to see a no hitter. I would.
In general,
yes.
You don't want to be part of history?
No.
You don't even want your team throwing a no hitter.
No. No. I paid money to watch the ball be hit over the fence. I did not pay money to see nobody hit a baseball for 2 hours. What? What kind of entertainment is that? Let's just go to a basketball game where everybody bricks free throws and bricks all their shots.
Team.
No,
you don't want any part of that.
No, but that's probably because I'm a casual and I don't have a team. But it's just like why would you be excited?
Because it's historic. It doesn't happen
just because
very
it's
often.
historic doesn't mean it's fun to watch, though. Like, if I'm going to a game and there's 2 hits in the entire game, I'm gonna be really upset. I'm gonna be like, this is a waste of my money. I paid to see these people play baseball, not to see this game of catch right here.
Last night, that was very painful to watch. But if it wasn't for the perfect game, there's no way I'm watching the end of that game.
Yeah.
But there was some at stake. It made it more interesting.
I mean, I guess 1 hit doesn't make it any better. Yeah, I guess.
The A's in the 9th inning, they looked like they wanted to be
They did.
part of
They
a perfect
really
game
were like,
too.
this is historic. This is awesome. Can you believe that we're about to watch this? And they're like, yeah, we got to play our part. I haven't really been a part of anything historic. I think I went to like John Stockton breaking a steals record here. John Stockton broke a record here in Sacramento. It was either like games played or he broke the assist mark or he broke steals record or something. That's probably like the most historically significant. I mean, I guess Steph Curry's 50-point.
I was at Mexico City where U.S. tied them 1-1 in qualifying for the World Cup.
The earthquake game. That's probably the most
The,
World Series. Yeah.
Whoa.
Wait, were you in the stands
something.
or?
Yeah. I mean, I was media, but they had the auxiliary press box in the
One
stands.
of the things I heard, like reading out when they had like the anniversary and stuff, they said it looked like a wave, like
through the stands.
Went through the stands.
Oh, I was getting a soda for my buddy just in case, and we all turned.
His name is Just in Case?
Yeah. He's on the radio here in
Just
Sacramento.
in Case.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah. And we heard incredible. Everyone turned because it was like one of those flyovers. Seriously.
Yes,
yeah. And it seemed like it passed by us.
Wow.
And then I went, and everyone, I remember people went by and people went, yeah, earthquake, yeah. Because it was a candlestick, right?
Right.
Fans were going, yeah, this is a great omen. And then I went back to try to get a soda or something. They're like, it doesn't work.
Here you
can have it. Nothing works. And then obviously nothing worked. It was
And
after a while, people's radio started coming back on. The Bay Bridge collapsed.
Have you ever seen that 30 for 30? Or it's like in ESPN films. There's that guy who was on the lights.
Yeah.
And he's like, I literally was swinging in and out of the stadium. That visual, just nightmare fuel. Oh my gosh. That's every time I think about that earthquake, I'm like, that poor guy I would have cried.
I would have been in tears. For you based on the YouTube chat here. We'll get to that when we come back. And also coming up here, well, I got to change my page. That's the problem here. We've got coming up why you shouldn't hold your breath waiting for a crazy free agent move or two this year, but why some, including Tim Legler, say the Kings have to be aggressive. That's next. Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
The Kings season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
It's probably one of the best starting points I could have had, starting in the NBA, Sacramento.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. 4th of July sales event is finally here. Chad, tell me what's going on at Hoblet.
Well, for a very short time, we're offering the biggest savings so far in 2023 with up to $12,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and limited crew cabs. That means you can get one of the most luxurious and popular trucks on the road starting at only $49,995. Plus, Hoblet is California's #1 Ram truck dealer, so you can take advantage of our huge selection with over 500 trucks available, including those hard-to-find heavy-duty trucks.
Okay, but what makes Hoblet better than the dealer down the street?
We have no surprise fees, add-ons, or dealer markups, just savings. One of the many reasons we received the Walter P. Chrysler Award for outstanding customer service for 3 years in a row now. Plus, with Hoblet's peace of mind guarantee, you can buy with confidence.
Stop by their Hoblet Ram Truck Center for a test drive today or search, select, and save through the whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
12,000 total net savings after 8,000 factory rebates and 4,000 dealer discount. 10 at this net savings. Sample VIN 549186. Must be California resident. Qualify. See dealer for details.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save on Valspar 5-gallon Ultra Flat Paint. Was $131, now just $123. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn up to 900 bonus points with the purchase of a Graco Magnum X7 paint sprayer. Lowe's knows pros. Valspar offer valid through 8/2. Selection varies by location. Estimated bonus points valid through 6/30. Actual awarded bonus points calculated on purchase price before taxes and after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms and conditions.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the IMAX experience.
I've been looking for this all my life.
Give 'em hell, Indiana Jones.
See Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for showtimes and reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club for special member pricing on tickets and concession items each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain-free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt.
You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness.
Lisa Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. Why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rilod with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all of your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Do the Kings really need to be aggressive in free agency? Tell you who thinks they need to be coming up in just a moment here. But first, Watkins and Whitey, I want to address some of the comments on the YouTube chat. We were talking about the most historic sporting events you've ever seen because Domingo Germán threw a perfect game last night, whatever. Jay Jolly says, I don't go to a lot of games, but I went to Kane's Perfecto, Tyreek's full court buzzer beater, and Bogey's buzzer beater versus the Lakers.
Ooh, that was a good one. I was at that one as well. The Bogey buzzer beater was for a moment, that was the biggest shot or maybe even biggest moment in Golden One Center history, as crazy as that sounds.
And you've probably seen this, but I'm wondering if you would have been able to guess what member of the Sactown Sports staff would tell us that last year I was at that playoff game when the goose flew on the field at Dodger Stadium.
Sounds like something Nate would say.
Close was Kyle Ledbetter.
Ah, Kyle.
Isn't that a classic? Kyle
You're close.
Am I missing something there? Did that happen? Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
A goose flew on the field?
Yes, during the Padres and Dodgers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it became kind of a thing. They made, I think they even had a goose mural somewhere in San Diego or something.
Geez.
Yeah.
I do remember that actually last year. Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's, sure. That's historic, I guess, in so many ways. I guess, no, it's not, but it's fine. I was going to compare it to the Black Cat, but it's not quite.
And somebody is with you on you don't want to see your own team throw no-hitter.
Yes.
I don't even want to look at the name because I don't want to know.
Beeman. Yes. Beeman. Absolutely.
What?
It's just you
want to see the game played well. That's your team playing it at a very high level.
Maybe, I guess maybe if I'm
the bad boy.
Exactly. Maybe if I'm really into the pitcher, but for the most part, I'm here to see a competitive game, home runs, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. I want some drama.
One of the best games I ever went to was Hudson versus Martinez, A's Red Sox, 2-0. I think Hudson threw 83 pitches. The Red Sox only had 2 hits.
My goodness.
And Pedro was unhittable. He gave up 2 runs in the first inning and that was it. And it was such a good game, but what you don't like, no hitting, just playing catch up there.
Very boring, huh? Wasn't it? No, it might have been exciting, but was it entertaining?
Come on, Chris.
But Chris is also a big soccer fan too, so 0-0 can be one of the more exciting results, and they can just be kicking the ball around the midfield.
I've seen very exciting 0-0 games,
too.
And I've seen terrible 0-0 games.
Same. I feel you on that, but I just feel every no-hitter is very boring until the last 6 outs.
Every one of them.
Yeah, every single one of them, except for the Giolito no-hitter.
About 11 years ago, my wife and I went to San Jose Earthquakes versus Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yes.
MLS, and it was 0-0.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we're done. And she was furious.
Yeah.
What?
They're
not finished.
Yeah. It's 0-0. You can't end with nobody scoring.
Yeah.
That's my point. You
One of
can't
the-
end the game with nobody hitting.
One of the best things one of my friends said to me was, that's the equivalent of just putting the soccer ball down and then just like walking away. That's
Right.
what the equivalent of a 0-0 tie.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's just like we might as well have seen nothing happen. I guess none of this mattered.
Well, are we going to see something happen with the Kings at free agency? Moments ago, the great Tim Legler was on ESPN, and he named 2 teams that he says have to be aggressive in free agency in the Western Conference: San Antonio Spurs and the Sacramento Kings.
Wow.
Says they've got to be aggressive.
And what does aggressive really like? Aggressive doesn't necessarily have to
Go
mean
get Kyle
go
Kuzma.
out there and
Go get your boy Kyle Kuzma.
I don't think it has to mean that. I think it could just mean like the Kings are spending. They just know who they want and they're going after it, and they might be paying market value for it. And I don't think that has to mean they go out and get Kyle Kuzma, but I do agree that they need to be aggressive. And if they really see Grant Williams or PJ Washington or whoever, a name that we haven't even thrown out there, just go, especially if they're restricted, pay something that you don't think somebody else will offer.
Mm-hmm.
You have enough cap space realistically to, if you really want to get somebody, unless you're competing with Houston, you can go get them. And so that's when I hear Kings need to be aggressive in free agency, that's the kind of aggression that I want to see. Is if you like somebody, don't try and get value for them. Go get them. Go get them.
I know that as we take a wider view of the whole league now, there's something maybe going on with Kyrie and the Suns, where Kyrie says he's going to visit the Suns in free agency. And we know that the Suns and Mavs had talked about an Ayton trade before the draft. So something could be brewing there, but I don't think we should hold our breath waiting for crazy free agent moves this summer. Consider this, dear listener, Chris.
Yes.
2019, and that was a bit of an outlier, but 2019, 7 free agents changed teams on deals worth at least $100 million. Okay, 2019 free agency. 7.
That's a lot.
Yeah. In the 3 years since, only 2 have.
Wow. Total?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Jalen Brunson and Gordon Hayward.
Geez. One of those is not like the other. My goodness. Gordon Hayward, God bless you, man. Still getting paid to this day.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
You know, Nick Friedel was there's Nick Friedel.
There
right
he
there.
is right there.
I was on the air with him when that Gordon Hayward thing was announced. I think I said, "Oh, breaking news." He started laughing. He's like, "What?"
It is pretty humorous.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, what? They're probably still paying him like $20 million. If I had to imagine that contract is going to go for another year or two. What? And then, but that'll probably be broken this offseason. You're going to have Chris Middleton sign a really, well, you said changing teams though as well, right? That's
right.
Okay.
Changing teams.
So maybe
yeah.
not then, because Harden, TBD, if he'll go over to Houston, he'll definitely make over 100. Kyrie, who knows where he's going to land up? You would guess he's probably going to go for 100. Middleton, looking like he's going to stay. He'll probably go for over 100. Besides that, I hope nobody else goes for 100. Like, I'm hoping Kyle Kuzma's number isn't 4 for 25 or something like that.
It seems like teams now, they try to hang on even more than they used to their guys if they like their guys.
Yeah.
And if they're going to move somebody, they tend to do it more through trades than during the free agent period. So it's fun, and it's still going to be fun, but I just don't know how impactful any of it's going to be. But if you buy into what Tim Legler's saying, the Kings need to make a splash.
They need to do something, that's for sure. I mean, I think if they go into next season with HB as their big move and Sasha Vezenkov coming in and, you know, whatever, maybe they sign Mason Plumlee, somebody as their backup big, that's just not going to get it in terms of excitement and hype for the Kings heading into the season. And I do think they kind of I just think that they need a little, you know, influx of some new blood in there. I think, you know, it's always good to just kind of have people in there who weren't a part of the experience last year, and you can kind of, you know, it's more for championship level teams, but teams like to say, like, you know, they've never had the success here, and so, you know, or had success in general, and so you're doing it for those guys. I think the Kings need to bring in some new blood and try and, you know, just to try and keep that energy up and make sure it doesn't get stagnant, make sure Mike Brown's voice doesn't get stale after a while. I think that they can't just run it back with the guys they had last year.
We have this on the YouTube chat. Russell says signing a mediocre caliber free agent now will hinder the ability to get a stud in the future. We can wait. You down with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think I understand what he's saying there. So
Don't need to. Yeah, you sign somebody now just to sign somebody, and it's going to limit what you can do in the future.
It could. It definitely could. And that's my fear with signing someone like Kyle Kuzma is, you're going to have him. You're pretty much going to be capped out for the foreseeable future. And who knows what that means for Malik Monk re-signing as well. I don't believe the Kings are going to have his bird rights. So that'll be an interesting negotiation period next year. But the Kings do need to keep some level of flexibility for Sabonis and Monk, and also to build the team moving forward.
From Manny to Legit, would you guys rather have Kuz or Middleton? I'd rather have.
If money's not an option,
I'd rather have Middleton of those two.
I would too. I just like what Chris Middleton does. I think he's shown that he's got the capabilities of playing a role.
He just gets hurt a lot.
He does get hurt a lot. He gets hurt a good amount, but he's also been just a really big player in the postseason as well. You know what you're going to get from him. He's the kind of guy who, he's a good team defender, definitely getting up there in age, but it's a lot less convincing that I have to do with Chris Middleton than Kyle Kuzma.
And your buddy Beeman says,
Beeman,
I'd much rather see the Bleacher Report notification of my team throwing a no-hitter than actually watch the game.
That is also true. I think I would much rather. I'll tune in at the 5th or 6th inning once I get that notification. But yeah, I don't need to watch the first.
It was exciting last night. I didn't like the outcome, but it was like, hey, perfect. Yankees throwing a perfect.
No,
game.
I'm not saying it's not exciting. It's just not what I'm paying for. If I'm going to the game, I would much rather see a team hit 8 home runs than watch a team get no hits. That's just where I fall. That is not the experience that I was signing up for.
Chris, you are one of a kind.
I like to think so. I would like to.
You bad boys, man.
Yeah,
I tell you,
bad boys for life, man.
Yeah,
that's how we are.
That's why I'm the bad boy of media.
Dang right. Come on, man.
All right, we're coming right back with the latest free agent buzz on a potential Kings target. Next, Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Thinking that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
All right, let's say Chris Watkins, you're the Kings GM. You're the real GM. No one knows it, but money comes to you this afternoon and says, all right, Chris, I have to do, if Vivek says I have to do what you say, what do you need me to do? What do you want me to get done? What do you want me to get done during free agency?
Player wise, or just like, okay, I want you, Monty, yes, I'm talking to Monty.
Yes,
I am the GM. Okay. I am truly the GM. You got to get me somebody to replace. I really want, you know what? Grant Williams or PJ Washington, one or the other. I'm honestly fine with either of them. I don't know what it's going to cost, and that's my big fear. But if it goes, if you're paying those guys over like 15 to 17 mil, I'll say 17 mil. If you're paying them over that, maybe go look for another option. But I think you need somebody else in that starting 4 spot.
Didn't Grant Williams just get
he got restricted.
Tendered. So he's
tendered.
restricted,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, so
Yeah.
he is restricted. But Boston's paying a lot of people. I mean, they got the Jaylen Brown contract that they got to sign. Jason Tatum, they just brought in Porzingis, who brings in a healthy amount of money. Horford makes a good amount of money. So I don't know if they're in the financial position to really spend big money on a guy like Grant Williams, who they kind of are hit or miss on. Like Grant plays sometimes, but other times he's completely out of the rotation. I just think that there's more for Grant Williams. I like what I see out of Grant Williams, and I think he would do really well with more minutes.
I listened to your show. I thought you wanted somebody with a little more size. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Grant's kind of the exception. I just really like his versatility. I think he can play the 4. He is very much undersized, but I really like the physicality he brings, and I just think he's a really smart basketball player. I would like to have him. I think he's a really good fit, especially offensively. Defensively, I think he's a good team defender, and that might be the biggest question. But him and PJ Washington are definitely the two names I'm looking for at that 4 spot. And you got to get a backup big. I like Mason Plumlee. I don't know how much he'll go for. And frankly, I still think that you need another backup point guard. I think you need like truly somebody that you can trust to have the ball in their hand. And you can still run him with Davion Mitchell or, somebody who can, maybe, I don't know, just feel wise. I just think the Kings still need somebody else besides Malik Monk, that when De'Aaron's not on the floor, they can put the ball in his hand and trust that the offense will still run. And maybe if they can create a shot for others or themselves, that's an added benefit as well. But just feels like they need another ball handler on top of everything.
PJ Washington, let's see. Do you know what he's making now?
He was making, I think, I have to look. I feel like I looked the other day, and he hasn't made a ton of money. I think he signed an extension.
4 years, 12 mil, so average like 3 mil.
Right. So he's made not much money in his career, actually. Yeah, he's only made $12 million in his entire career. Actually, and then you add 5. So he's made $17 million throughout his career so far.
So I'm figuring if he's restricted, then at what point does Charlotte match? Do we have to overpay to make a run at him?
Yeah.
I'm still, you know what? I still would strongly consider way overpaying for Cam Johnson. I think that highly of him and his fit.
I think that that's an option, but the problem I have with, and I guess it shouldn't be because you still run into those same problems with the two guys I just listed, but him being restricted in the amount of money that you would have to throw at him, you would just be completely tied up for a couple days there. And if you do, and if they do end up matching it, which I don't know what the probability of that is, it feels like they'd probably want to keep him, but there's got to be a number out there that's too much for them. If you don't get him, you're kind of screwed in terms of what's your pivot plan after that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Harrison Barnes is somebody that let's just assume that Harrison's coming back at $12 to $15 million. Do you think that it's the right move to bring him back?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless I have reason to believe if I'm in on potentially either of those other two guys we just mentioned, then Harrison, I think I'd have to be talking to him about a lesser role.
Yes.
I'm guessing they're not right now. If talks are going as well as reports suggest they are, I'm guessing they're talking about his
role,
regular role.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder what he feels about his role, because to me in Sacramento, even if it's not next year, he's going to be a bench player at some point here throughout this new contract. And I just wonder if he's okay with that. I think that there's going to be other teams like, the teams that have been rumored, Indiana, Dallas. I think that he has a carved out 25 plus minutes on all of those teams and can be a regular contributor. It's just kind of a matter of if he's okay taking the Kings discount, which the Kings history does not show that many people are.
We're making some large assumptions here, obviously.
Definitely, yeah.
But if that's where the Kings are going, then you have to upgrade on the bench.
Gotcha.
One guy you want to look at, Bruce Brown.
Brucey B.
I mentioned a potential Kings target, and the Lakers are said to be very interested.
I don't
In
like
fact,
that.
Mike Singer on Twitter, one team with significant interest in signing Bruce Brown away from Denver, the Lakers. Lakers could offer him the full MLE, $12.3 million annually. The Nuggets could only offer up to $7.8 million this year.
Yeah,
that's Mike Singer of the Denver Post.
I wonder what Bruce Brown's interest is, because I would have to imagine just about every team that's in a winning situation that has any money available is going to want to bring in Bruce Brown. He's just a winning kind of guy. I unfortunately really like the fit with him in Los Angeles. He's a guy who's shown the ability in the past to put the ball in his hand.
Just about anywhere.
Anybody, right? Which makes him the perfect player to go for if you're trying to actually win basketball games. That's scary. I don't like to hear that. I think he would fit in perfectly with this Kings team as well. We've talked about it in the past, but he's a guy who could play 3. He could play 4 as well. He's just a winner, gritty guy. Do it all, Swiss Army knife, however you want to describe him. He's the perfect kind of guy that every team would want to have on their roster. And if he goes to the Lakers, it's going to be a really good fit. I don't like it.
Mhm.
I really don't.
He plays really hard and he defends.
He does. Right?
Yeah.
And
he wins. He's
really,
a winner.
really big piece of Denver's
Yeah.
championship run. And, as our guy Michael Malone made evident, he does not want him to go anywhere,
No.
but it might not be up to them.
They only
Because like you
have so
said,
much
they
money
can
they
only
can
throw
offer.
$7 million at him. And, there is always championship discounts for sure. Maybe Bruce is like, this is the best situation. I'm playing with a generational talent. Doesn't get much better than that. And he can maybe be a part of multiple championships as well. But I think, and I think Keith Smith actually pointed this out when we were talking to him earlier. This is kind of Bruce Brown's chance to get paid for a long term. And I can see him signing a 4-year, $12.5 million per year contract with somebody. It's just a matter of who it is. I mean, even weirdly enough, like a team like Houston, I think could really benefit from just paying Bruce Brown through the gills, and they've got the finances to do it.
Denver would be in position to pay or at least offer Brown more in a year or 2, but he would have to play for less now.
the next couple
and
years.
then, just hope that
handshake deal.
He didn't get hurt or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That as well. Right.
Yeah. This could have something to do with the Harrison Barnes thing. Maybe this is influencing Harrison Barnes' thinking, or maybe Harrison Barnes, his thinking with the Kings is influencing Indiana, because Indiana is a team that was said to have interest in Harrison Barnes. Now, according to the Stein line, the Indiana Pacers are strongly weighing a 3-year, $48 million offer for Max Strus.
Oh, okay. And
a lot of people are surprised by that.
That's
a hot market for Max Strus has been growing.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't think it's a bad signing. I don't know if it's a good one either, though. Like Max Strus is, we saw he's a really key cog to what Miami was doing, but
Orlando and Detroit also have strong interest.
Max
in
Strus is not somebody whose his value is not going to be shown on a bad team like that. I don't like that at all. I think Max Strus is kind of a good guy for Miami because you just don't really game plan for him much. And I think that's kind of where he goes off. But if he's going to be if Indy's going to pay him that kind of figure, you assume he's going to be a starter. I don't see you getting good return on value for that one. Max Strus, perfectly fine player, but not at that figure. And that's kind of the theme for me with just about this entire class. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that when we look back at this class, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, it's like, man, can you believe that we were just paying people just because they were the ones that were available? I don't like that number for Max Strus. Perfectly fine player, but that's just too much.
Kurt Heelan says that according to reports, the Pelicans are testing the trade market for
Brandon Ingram or Zion?
As Charles Barkley would say, Jonas Vanuatu-Washas.
Yes, Valuasas.
Yeah.
Yes. Jonas Valuasas.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You got that somewhere, Chris? That's a good one.
That is a great cut.
Jonas Vanuatu-Washas.
Yes.
Charles Barkley's pronunciation of Jonas Valanciunas.
I really like Jonas. I think Jonas is one of the more underrated players that we have in this league. There's guys who are like him or who, if you play fantasy basketball, you know how valuable Jonas Valanciunas is. He's the kind of guy who surprisingly will get 16 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists.
I remember watching
hit a couple
the Kings
threes.
playing against him a few years ago, and whoever the Kings announcer was at the time said, that's the type of guy that King Papagiannis can become. And I almost threw up.
Ooh, boy.
That ain't happening.
No, but that is true that's the guy that you hope he becomes. And I think there's a lot of guys out there where it's like, yeah, hopefully they can be Jonas Valanciunas. I think he's a really solid piece. He's paid too much, if I'm not mistaken, but somebody who's kind of like Nikola Vucevic as well, just somebody who's going to put up
3 years, $60 million for Nikola Vucevic.
Jeez, I know I like Vucevic, and that's kind of one of those weird. Chicago is the worst. If we can go an entire segment on Chicago, I have no idea what the Bulls are doing with their entire roster. It makes no sense to me. The Valanciunas, it's one of those things where you have to, like, it's not like he didn't perform. It's just, it clearly did not do to your team what you thought it was going to do. And your best possible option is running it back. Where do you like, I mean, is there any ties to where Jonas could be going? Because I mean, with the figure he makes, and there's just not many teams out there who are like, yeah, let me go sign up for just a really solid center, but paying him a little bit more than that.
Pelicans sources said, this is from your boy Jake Fisher at Yahoo.
Cool.
They're in search of a more mobile rim protecting big man. New Orleans made one call, sources said, to Cleveland about obtaining
Jared Allen.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense if that's what they're looking for. That's interesting. I would like that. I actually really like that trade for both sides. I think Cleveland could use like just throw it down in the post option. Like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are two really big guys, but aren't, Evan Mobley hasn't quite developed his offensive game yet. And I really like Jonas's fit there. And, in New Orleans, they really could use a rim protector, and you don't get much better than Jared Allen.
Coming up, PJ Washington or Kyle Kuzma, who would be the better choice here? That's next. Ugh. Chris and company. What's the matter?
Just having to pick between those two.
Sactown Sports, Watkins and Whitey.
Less than ideal.
The King season might be over, but Sactown Sports coverage never stops.
Returning is honestly my number one priority. To be a part of something special.
Stay tuned all off season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Byers Enterprises.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It's Thursday. We're looking at a hot day today. Temperatures will top out in the 98 to 102 range, so make plans accordingly around the heat. Expect overnight lows in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
To protect your home from the top down, start from the roof line up. Get clog-free Byers Leaf Guard gutters, fire-safe roofing from Byers Roofing, and power your home with Byers Solar. Act now for $500 off Byers Leaf Guard gutters at thatsbyers.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, Major League Baseball has announced the rosters for this year's Futures game, July 8th up in Seattle. The A's will have Tyler Soderstrom, the number one pick back in 2020 out of Turlock, 16 homers and 51 RBIs this year in AAA, and the outfielder Lawrence Butler, who had a great spring this year, and he's batting .284 with an .810 OPS in AA. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club. Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Sactown Sports
Headlines. I'm Chris Verlad with your Sactown Sports Headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all of your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
Interesting thoughts from the smartest GMs in radio on the YouTube chat here. We have, for example, this update on Jimmer Fredette from Captain Obvious. I hear Jimmer's a free agent this year. So that do anything for you?
No, it frankly doesn't. I gave up on Jimmer many moons ago, and no, I have no interest in bringing over Jimmer.
Captain Obvious also wonders, why are the Kings not linked to Bruce Brown? Seems like exactly what we need at a reasonable price.
Agreed. Very much.
No. Yeah.
That's why.
No. Pepe G says Kuzma and Draymond were linked to the Kings by their agents' mouths.
Yes.
And not because Sac offered them anything.
Yes, that's the clutch connection. And I think we talked about that earlier this week, but you'd be surprised at how much agents are now playing a factor in team building in general. Like a lot of the times you'll see, if there's 3 stars on a team, a lot of the times they will all be clutch clients or they'll all be CAA or something like that. And I think the Kings are actually a rare situation where De'Aaron just switched over to clutch, and I believe Sabonis is a CAA client. So no one's taken over the Kings yet. But I absolutely believe that comment is true, that it was pretty much clutch driven. And, obviously Draymond also knows that the Kings can be used as leverage to get more money from Golden State.
It's a very good point, though, that there's a chance the Kings have someone in mind that they're pursuing, targeting, however you want to put it, and we have no idea, and none of it has been linked.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I just think that I don't think that's the fact that Kings are doing nothing. I think it's actually the opposite. I think they're doing due diligence on just about everybody. It's just we're not hearing about it. And once we do eventually find out what the moves are, I think it's going to make a whole lot of sense. I don't think that there's going to be I could be wrong, but I just don't think that there's going to be any big surprise name that we haven't thrown out there. If the Kings do make a really big move, something tells me it'll be for Kyle Kuzma, maybe for, I just think there's not going to be many surprises in terms of what the Kings do.
The Kuzma thing's really interesting to me because, again, I know we talked about this already, but a lot of people said, you know what? The Kings were interested in him before when they almost traded for him.
Right.
And he's available. Therefore, they probably are interested now. And a lot of people started saying that, suggesting that in the media. Then it became, Jake Fisher said, boy, there appears to be a lot of momentum towards Kuzma. But again, this is really just speculation. There's basically a lot of speculation.
It's all
and then
there is.
someone aggregates that, and if you're not careful, it looks like, wow, the Kings have interest. They're all in on Kuzma. Well, they may be, but we really don't know.
Yeah, there's been no
and
facts.
I would be surprised if they are, but maybe we'll find out soon enough.
Especially with hearing that they're talking with Harrison Barnes. I don't know if there's going to be the capital. Like, that would be the Kings' two moves then, is bringing in Harrison Barnes and bringing in Kyle Kuzma. I don't think that's I can't see that being what the route Monty goes. And you're right. Like when Monty was interested in Kyle Kuzma, it was when he was more of a role player in LA, and you could more easily see, okay, yeah, I can see how he could be a piece. With the guy Kyle Kuzma is now, he's a scorer, he's a rebounder as well, but I think he's just not quite the role player that the Kings are looking for right now.
Would you bring Boogie or Howard to back up Sabonis?
Ooh,
come on, no.
No would be the answer, but between the two, geez, I honestly don't think I have an answer. I guess, honestly, I think Dwight Howard would probably be more useful. I think DeMarcus is incredibly talented. I'm a huge DeMarcus Cousins fan. It's just,
Ship has sailed.
It's just, that ship has sailed, and he's just not. If he can't be that guy that he was here, I just don't think he can scale that down and be nearly as useful or valuable as what he was before. And I think Dwight has shown like he can be 6 rebounds, 6 points in 20 minutes on that Laker team. Obviously, that's a couple years ago, and I would much rather them sign neither of those two guys. But
can we somehow combine the two and come up with Dwight Cousins or DeMarcus Howard?
Yes, I like. Ooh, DeMarcus Howard sounds like. That guy sounds like a monster.
Yeah.
I want DeMarcus Howard on my team for sure.
Guaranteed rebounds.
Yes. No one messes with DeMarcus Howard.
Oh, my goodness. DeMarcus Howard? No, get out of his way and just, oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm down for that. Can we make that happen? Is that possible?
Yeah, well, working on it.
Okay.
Hey, science is doing some great things right now.
Incredible things. Yeah.
Jerry Reynolds told me a story about was it Greg Ballard? Was this huge guy, and he was on the Washington Bullets. And Kevin McHale was like not really guarding him. And Larry Bird says, "Hey, are you afraid of him?" And Kevin McHale says, "Yeah, I'm afraid of him. You guard him." And Larry Bird says, "I'm not guarding him. I'm afraid of him too. I just wanted to know if you were."
Yes.
And that's the kind of guy DeMarcus Howard would be.
DeMarcus Howard, absolutely. The league would be shook by DeMarcus Howard. I would feel that way about Shaq too. Like if I had to go, like poor Scott Pollard is like, I have to play 10 minutes and I'm just going to use 6 fouls to just get abused by this guy. Like that sounds like the worst job in sports. Absolutely. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Marcus Howard would. Yeah.
I'd rather be a catcher than do that.
Probably. I think so. I'd rather be a catcher with the old rules too of like, you can run right through me. Yeah. I would much rather be a catcher than have to go 15 minutes against Shaq.
What if it came down to, as far as we know, it may, we're doing a lot of guessing here. PJ Washington or Kyle Kuzma? Which of those two guys,
fit-wise, here in Sacramento?
Yes, for Sacramento.
Okay, fit-wise, I like
earlier.
PJ. Yes, fit-wise, I like PJ.
I thought earlier you were saying that you like PJ.
I do. I have to acknowledge that the better player of the two is Kyle Kuzma, and that's where my groans come from. Is just like, oh, you're really gonna make me say it, but yeah, Kyle Kuzma is better than what PJ Washington is. Like if you put PJ Washington if you put PJ Washington in Washington last year in Kyle Kuzma's role, there's no way he probably gets close, maybe 16, 17 per game, but he's not going to put up the numbers Kuzma put up.
He's only like 24,
he's very young, and he's another Kentucky guy you can get in the building as well. Add to that De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Trey Lyles trio, make it would that be a quartet? I think is that? I don't know. Whatever. I really like PJ Washington's fit, and it's also the important thing and the reason why, even though he's a worse player than Kuzma, I just think fit-wise, he's a guy who's already kind of played in that, not first option, not second option, not third option, and I just think he does a lot of things that could be beneficial here in Sacramento. He's a good shooter.
He's a good shooter. He's not a great rebounder.
Not a great rebounder, but he's got the
younger.
height. He's got the height to where it's like, you can probably instill some, rebounding isn't necessary. Rebounding to an extent is a skill, but for the most part, rebounding is just about effort and wanting to go get the ball. And at what is he listed at? He's listed at 6'7". That is disgusting. PJ Washington is not 6'7". He is a bona fide 6'8", 6'9", maybe even 6'10".
And Kuzma is listed
tall.
at 6'9".
Yeah, I think that's true. Kuzma is a really big body, but PJ Washington, from what I've seen with my own eyes, he's 6'9", 6'10" for sure. But a good shooter, not a great rebounder at all. You're right. He's averaged 4.9 rebounds last season.
And that's as a big.
Yeah, and that's as a big too, right? I just that's not great. Played 32 minutes last year with Charlotte, but I really like his fit here in Sacramento. I think he could definitely provide some spacing on the offensive end, and also some defense. Also some defense as well. He averaged a block per game last year. Nothing special, but just again with the length that he provides and mobility, I think that there's something there.
Here's my whole thing with Kyle Kuzma, and we'll know soon enough. And it may be that the Kings love him. We know that, again, we've talked about this. Someone just brought it up on the YouTube chat again. The Kings tried to get him from the Lakers in a Buddy Hield trade a couple years ago. They thought it was a done deal. Kyle Kuzma has talked about the fact that he thought it was a done deal and he was excited about coming here. But since then, I don't think Kyle Kuzma has gotten better. I wouldn't be surprised if Monty does not see him the same way as he did at the time he was trying to trade for him.
Yes.
Given Kyle Kuzma's lack of improvement since then. He's not horrible, obviously. 21 points a game last year, but not an efficient scorer. Did rebound the ball well last year. Needs a lot of shots. That's why I don't see him as a really good fit in the Kings offense as currently constituted, because if he's going to take that many shots, they got to come from somebody, and I'm figuring they're probably coming from Herter and from Keegan, and I want those guys taking more shots, not fewer.
No, right. I'm looking at Kyle Kuzma's shots. He led the Washington Wizards in shot attempts last year, or this past season. The season before that, he also shot the third most attempts, right behind Porzingis. So he took 14 attempts the season before last. He's not a guy that I see filling the role that the Kings need. And really, I'm trying to not be a victim of looking at his Washington numbers too much, because let's be honest, Washington's a terrible situation to play in. And I'm not going to blame Kyle Kuzma for being like, well, we're not winning games, I might as well get mine and do what I want to do. It's a lot tougher to see him going back to the guy that he used to be in that role and as a role player. And I just think now he's had the taste of kind of being a star on a team. And I just think once you have a taste of that, it's really hard to go back to just minimal touches, especially when you're entering the prime of your career and you want to show that you're a certain caliber of guy. I have a tough time seeing it.
He's also been inconsistent, and inconsistency equals inefficiency.
Yes.
And I just don't want to pay a guy that much money to come here and maybe do well, but maybe do well sometimes and not well other times. I can get that for a lot less money.
Yes. Oh, and let's be honest too. The real thing is the sweaters are terrible. Like that pink sweater, we can't.
I kind of like him.
Okay. Well, then
they're different.
We don't agree.
It's a different look.
It's definitely different. He looked ridiculous in that. I would be down to see it with my own two eyes. That would be cool. Just
It'd be fun.
A game by game experience of what is Kyle going to wear today. Sure, absolutely, sign me up. But I'm not going to co-sign said.
Almost wore the one with the sleeves that go on and on. Almost wore that today.
Yeah, you should have.
But I would wait and see.
Yeah, that's right. No, you should wait until he actually gets signed, and then once he's signed, then it'll look less ridiculous.
You got it. Coming up next, are you buying the bounce back hype on this big name quarterback? I think I am. How about you? Next, Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Apparently, there is a cage match brewing between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I hope this happens for many reasons. Number one, it just goes with the downfall of our society. Number two, nothing more fun than seeing super ultra mega billionaires just beat the hell out of each other. Number three, it would obviously be a terrible, terrible, terrible fight.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
For nearly 20 years since Bartley Kavanaugh Golf Course opened near the banks of the Sacramento River, it's been Sacramento's #1 course for fun. Perry Dye of the famous Dye family of golf course architects designed the course to be an easy walk, but motorized carts are available as well. You and your friends of all abilities will find Bartley Kavanaugh featuring a brand new tap room is a great place to play golf. After your round, relax on the outdoor veranda overlooking the course with a cold beverage or a tasty meal. For tee times, visit bartleycavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Are you ready for the ultimate 4th of July celebration? Get ready to kick off the summer in style with the hottest deals in town at Elk Grove Kia. For those looking to go green, we have the award-winning all-electric Kia EV6. With its sleek design and 0 emissions, it's the future of driving. Lease the EV6 for just $489 per month and experience the thrill of electric power. But wait, we've got something even bigger for you. The Kia Telluride, the hottest SUV on the market, is here with prices so low we can't even advertise. We have 11 Tellurides available for immediate delivery. These deals are the best we've had in over 3 years, so hurry in for the best selection. Our general manager guarantees that if there's a car, SUV, or truck you're willing to take the keys for, we'll find a way to fit your budget at Elk Grove Kia today. Don't buy until you check us out at elkgrovekia.com.
2023 Kia EV6 with 36-month lease, $51.50 customer cash due with signing, residual $29,849.70 based on 10 pay per year, 20 cents per mile over 0 security deposit required. Kia Finance Tier 1 FICO score 740 plus subject to lender approval. One of this payment GK 86091043777 expires 5/2023.
Elk Grove Kia.
The City of Sacramento offers rebates to help with your outdoor water saving projects this season. Rebates are available for landscape conversions, smart controllers, and irrigation upgrades that improve your water efficiency. Learn more at sacwaterwise.com.
Sitting at your desk, watch Chris's company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Woo! Are you ready for the heat? The heat of NBA free agency and just the heat of Sacramento summer. Finally coming.
Free agency, I'm here for. Heat, no. Just general sun temperature, no. I'm out. Send me to Alaska. Nah, don't do that.
You know what the squirrels?
I think me and Chris will go to Bodega Bay for the weekend.
Yes.
To escape it.
We have squirrels in our yard, a lot of them. We live, in a neighborhood, and there's, I don't know. I don't mind them, but I notice what they do when it's hot. The squirrels, they lay in the shade, just spread eagled, and they lay like in the grass.
Yes.
And
me too.
I call it squirreling, and I'm wondering if that might be, what one way to keep cool.
Maybe. I mean,
yeah, you have to take everything off and then lay, presumably you'd have to do it in your own backyard.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? I'm squirreling.
AC works fine for me. I'm just going to stay indoors. I don't need to step outside. There's no reason. I golfed last weekend. I'm good. I'm just going to sit this one out. You're not going to see me. Maybe I'll watch some Kyle Kuzma highlights or something like that. Not going to
try any squirreling?
Maybe in the comfort of my own home, but I will not be going outside laying on grass.
You know what this would be the perfect thing for you to do, Chris?
What's that?
Something you hardly ever do.
Okay.
Go to the movie theater.
It is pretty chill in there.
Yeah.
That would still require me going outside. Am I the only person? No, I don't like. There's no way I'm the only person who just doesn't like to go outside when it's like blazing hot. Like even going in the car is a process. Like you gotta.
Do you have a dark
Here I am
interior
again, sounding like the
in your
oldest
car?
man in America. No, I don't.
Okay,
I
well,
do
that's
not
good.
have fancy interior.
Not just a dark interior, which absorbs the heat.
Kind
Makes
of,
it
not
even-
really,
yeah.
no. But I guess I do. It's like a gray. I think it's gray and black. I never really look at my car interior actually, but yeah, no, I'm out. I'm just gonna stay indoors. Like it's just you're gonna find me in the comfort of my own home, just wasting time.
It's hot. You go out, you get some ice cream or something cool to drink, which is even more exhilarating when it's really hot.
I guess maybe maybe I can have a DoorDash or something like that. I'm good.
It's too hot. It'll get melted.
That's a good point. It's actually a good point. No. I'm not going outside. I'm sorry. Like I could also be lying. Who knows? I could go outside. I'm not planning to go outside.
Okay.
Sometimes people will invite me to things and I feel like some sort of obligation to say yes, because if not, I'll just be sitting inside all day. But my plan is to not leave the house this weekend.
Years ago, probably before you knew what was going on, if not before you were born, the 49ers would convene in July up in Rockland for their summer camps.
Why would they do that?
Are
they trying to injure their players?
The heat. People don't believe in the heat as much as they used to. Used to be you're going to practice in the heat.
Yes.
And you're not going to drink.
You're not going to have any water.
And you're going to be tougher.
Yeah.
Or you may die. But then we know that maybe football's not for you.
Right now, I'm looking at the weather. It says 107 on Saturday and 105 on Sunday. And every time the weather is that hot and I go outside and I feel that heat, I think of exactly what you just described. There's thousands of poor high schoolers out there just dying, just absolutely dying in the heat with pads on, a helmet on.
Until it's 110, it's not really hot.
No,
anything
I
under
disagree.
110 is like, it's summer. And 110, I'm with you. It's like, wow.
You got to move to Vegas then, my guy, because that is ridiculous. If it's over like 95, I'm good on going outside. That's the noise that actually comes out of my
You get to be like 110 and you go swimming. It's like bath water. It's not.
I do enjoy that. I do enjoy when the pool is so hot that it is
You
like
like
that.
that?
I do. I really do. I don't like cold water. I do not like cold water. Like if it's like 100 degrees outside and I go in the pool and it is like,
who are you?
It is freezing. I'm soft, bro. I'm telling you, I'm soft.
No, you are the most
Charmin
interesting.
soft.
You are the most interesting man in the world.
Thank
now.
you. I appreciate it. I try.
I don't know how constantly you can give us something new every single day that
That's
I would.
at least two.
Yes.
It's amazing. I don't know.
Like I go to a baseball game. I don't want my team to.
Sorry, guys. I'm an individual. I'm not a sheeple like the rest of you. Come on.
That's very true.
Come on.
It's true.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You like cold water? Like
on a hot day?
Yeah, if it's 110.
No. I very much distrust
you
people
off.
who are just like, just jump in the pool. Don't like walk in and like get used to it. Just dive in. Your body will get adjusted. No, absolutely not. I'm gonna take my sweet time going into this water.
I'm gonna wait till the water is like 80 degrees.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I'm gonna step.
Pretty
in
much.
there.
Pretty much.
Oh, refreshing.
I don't have any defense for myself. I know I'm soft. It's just the way that I am. I don't know. Give me warm water on a warm day. Sounds great. Sounds great. Bath water. Oh,
Hey, whatever works for you.
Hey, man. Yeah.
Speaking of summer camps and things of that nature, football wise,
yes.
A lot of people out of Denver now are saying that watch out for you know who this year. When I say you know who I'm talking about, Danger Russ, the asterisk,
oh my God.
Mr. Unlimited, or Robot Russell, his nicknames according to Pro Football Reference.
Robot Russell
Wilson, yeah.
Okay. Danger Russ is my least favorite. I really hate that. I hate how clever it is. It very much fits Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Judy says, "Oh, Russ is going to have a big year."
I can't do this. This Russell Wilson like re-hype train. I'm out on, and I get it can't get any worse than what it was last year. I mean, Nathaniel
1-11
Hackett,
quarterback record.
Yeah. Ugh, jeez. And Nathaniel Hackett was pretty much a joke the entire season. And just like what a mass, like going from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton is just about as big of a jump as like going from Luke Walton to Mike Brown. Like it is very similar in terms of like, what were you doing to like, whoa, that's like incredibly competent.
It's like going from 80-degree pool water on a hot day to nice, fresh, whatever, 60, whatever.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't see it. I don't get the pool thing. I don't get the water temperature thing. I do not get this. Sean Payton's a fantastic coach.
I'm buying it.
I just don't think that. I'm very willing to be shocked. I will gladly love to see Russell Wilson continue to be a very good quarterback, but I have a tough time seeing him going from what we saw last year where he just couldn't make any throws. It was the let Russ cook in the worst way possible to he's just going to fall in line with Sean Payton and do the Sean Payton offense and just be a system quarterback. I think that Russ frankly loves himself too much to let himself succeed like that.
It went from let Russ cook to last year is let Russ heat up some Pop-Tarts.
Yes.
That's what it was last year.
It was some pizza rolls.
16.9 points per game, 16 touches, 11 interceptions. I buy it, though, that the coaching situation last year, their head coach was so far over his head.
Yes.
Sean Payton coming in, we know Russ can do it. I'm not a fan of Robot Russell, but I'm buying it. I think he's going to have a solid to really good year this year.
I could see them
I
going.
think they're going to score a lot more than 16.9 points per game.
They have to, right? Like, again, they can't get worse. So I guess in that sense, I believe that he will be better. I just don't know if we're going to see Russell Wilson MVP candidate again or anything near that. I think they can go. You think so?
We might, yeah. And it gives me no joy to say so.
I don't like it. Maybe I'm just more out on the Denver situation. I'm just completely out on the Denver situation. They've got a great defense, and maybe that can help along Russ just not make so many mistakes. But I just have a tough time seeing it. I think he's going to be better. I can see them being near 500, or I guess you can't be 500 in the NFL anymore, but 8-9, 9-8. But I don't see like some huge resurgence from Russell Wilson.
I will bet you right now if you want. I don't know what we bet. But
okay.
I know this isn't saying a lot, but I'll bet you right now, Pro Bowl for sure.
Sure. I mean, I guess what does a Pro Bowl even mean these days anymore? I think Daniel Jones was a Pro Bowler last year. So
are you agreeing with me, or are you saying you'll take the bet?
I'll take the bet, but I think that you'll probably be right just because Pro Bowlers, everybody, you and I are Pro Bowlers after last year. So I'll take the bet, though. I'm willing to bet that Russell Wilson won't be that guy anymore. I just don't think it.
All right.
I think they can lean really heavily on the run. Maybe they can finally get Javonte Williams going this year.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice for fantasy purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see Russ. And Jerry Jeudy, they tried to trade him they've been trying to trade him. I don't know. I don't love. I just don't love Russell Wilson either. I think he's really, really solid, but I don't know if he's even that anymore.
I'll tell you what, we won't know till December. So if you lose, you got to come over and jump on our pool in December.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Agreed. Okay. That's fine. I really hate that. That is truly punishment.
If you win, I don't know. We'll figure
that part out.
Coming out,
terrible.
That big free agent swing for the Kings may not be coming. And the latest from Woj. That's next. Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports is your source for the 49ers.
Oh, that's all. It was all.
Did that leave a bitter taste in your mouth?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me and Kyle had a long meeting the other day. We watched tape. We talked about it. We put it behind us. And just going through the tape and just look how sluggish and, like, how bad it looked on tape. Like I said, just reflecting on last offseason, it kind of played a big role in that. I'll never put nothing like that back on tape again.
Tune into Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest 49ers offseason developments.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Attention contractors and DIY enthusiasts. Don't miss the ultimate DeWalt sale event at Fasteners Tool Outlet in Sacramento next Saturday, July 8th. Unbeatable prices on DeWalt power tools and one-day only deals with free batteries and tools. Grab a 4-piece brushless combo kit for $299 and save up to 50% on select hand tools and accessories. Again, that's July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he is picked up from the Brooklyn Nets at last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all of your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
What do you think of this idea from the YouTube chat? Fans_only suggests we change the name of the station to Sactown Sports. While we wait for Sasha.
He's got to do something first. Maybe if he scores like 30 in a game or something, hits a game winner, then we can change it. But as we wait, nah. He's got to earn that right, He's got to earn that right, and I don't know.
He's not even a Sacramento King
exactly
yet.
Right, not yet, not until official wording is in. So not quite at Sactown Sports yet, but there was a period when we were talking about him. It felt like every segment, and at that point, it felt like Sactown Sports. But
yes,
I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, maybe we will revisit that.
Yeah,
nice idea.
It's not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea at all. But just
I was going to say Kings have bigger fish to fry, but that's among their larger fish that they'll be frying.
Seems that way, especially if Harrison Barnes seems to be their target right now, it's probably going to be HB and Sasha, and then maybe one name that fans are familiar with, and that'll probably be it. And I think they're really banking on Sasha to be incredibly important next year. And, if as long as it's off the bench, I'm more than okay with that. I think he's going to be a really solid player for this team moving forward. And I think there's going to be a couple days where like Sasha might be one of the more key players to victory. I think he's going to finish a couple games as well this year. Like, it's going to be a big year for the Kings. I think Sasha's going to be a big part of it too.
But is it going to be a big free agency period? I hear you saying, and I think I agree with you, that it may be a little bit underwhelming, which to a degree would reflect the fact that this year's free agent class appears to be underwhelming. Mm-hmm. If you brought in Sasha, you kept Barnes, and maybe you added one other player to beef up your bench, would that be satisfying? I think a lot of Kings fans would feel, hey, I just saw Tim Legler on the TV, and he said the Kings need to be aggressive.
I think it's disappointing. I definitely think it's disappointing. Whether or not it's right or wrong, or the right moves, good moves or bad moves, I think it's definitely disappointing when you see the Kings have the cap space that they do, and if they pretty much run it back and only bring one fringe rotation guy over. Whether or not it works or not, I just think that's a tough sell to the fan base when after draft night, I think everybody is kind of prepared for, oh my gosh, we're going to be big players, and Tim Legler says we're going to be aggressive, and there's names like Kuzma that I know that I feel like can contribute. I just think
they never said that. They never came out and said, we're going to be big players.
They have not. They have not once said that, yeah, we have cap space and, we're going to be really aggressive and we're going to try and really, take the league by storm. Nothing of that has even came out from Monty's mouth. I think it's going to be a tough sell, but I've been preaching that they need to get better on the edges instead of trying to swing for the fences. So I won't be upset depending on exactly who the players are, but I wouldn't be too upset at it, but I would still acknowledge that it would be disappointing when you have this much cap space and you're the only playoff team that really has the ability to improve like that.
Yeah.
It's, you got to feel like there's an opportunity to do something. But the reality of the situation is if you are going to do something, you're probably going to be spending it on somebody who might not deserve it. And I think that I would much rather kind of run it back and disperse the money than throw it at somebody who might not be able to live up to the money.
That's why I'm still hoping against hope that they decide, look, there are some guys out there we could pursue. Maybe they wouldn't come here, but even if they do, we wouldn't feel great about the fit for some of these guys. So there's one guy that would be a great fit. We'd probably have to overpay to bring him in. It would cost a lot of money. But you know what? Somebody's probably going to offer him this much money. Detroit, there's been some rumblings that Detroit will pursue him. Well, if Detroit's going to do it, why can't we offer $100 million for 4 years for a guy to be a great fit here, would improve our team, Cam Johnson? Why not?
There's really not a why not. The only why not is if the Kings just aren't sure that they are going to be able to pivot off of Cam Johnson if they do match. That's the only reason I can think of not trying to bring a guy like him in, because he checks a lot of boxes as well. Like, he's still a shooter. He's a guy who's been a role player very recently.
And I would do it, but I admit it would be an overpay.
It would be an overpay for what he has done so far. But also I think I see Cam Johnson still having more potential, more room to grow into a bigger role. Like, I can't see Kyle Kuzma ever scoring more than 20 points per game. I could see Cam Johnson just kind of being a steady threat and being 16, 17, maybe even 18 points per game, and potentially, upping his game still. I know he was an older rookie coming in, but he's been a late bloomer. He was a late bloomer at UNC. He's been a late bloomer in the NBA, where he kind of took a couple years to be the guy that he is now. And even then, I still think he's got some room to grow. He's never really had, with the exception of his time in Brooklyn for that half season last year, he's never really had an opportunity to have a major role on a team. And I thought he was really good for the Suns in their finals run as well. Like, he was just a role player at that point, but I see more than just a role player for Cam Johnson. And I think he would be a really, really good fit.
He was good for Brooklyn last year too.
He was great. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn wasn't necessarily, they were in a weird situation post KD Kyrie trade, but him and Mikal Bridges did a fantastic job of really just holding that team up and making sure that, I think they still locked down a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, but he's just a really dynamite shooter and somebody that I could see just fitting really well into the Kings offense. I think the defensive side of things is definitely still a question for him. He's not a rim protector.
He can guard both forward spots.
Yes, he can. He's a good perimeter defender, which is key, but it doesn't really solve the rim protection issue, which, you can't answer all your questions with one guy. But I really like the fit of Cam Johnson in Sacramento.
I really think the rim protection issue for the Kings starts on the perimeter. The best way to protect the rim is to keep guards from getting into the paint in the freaking first place.
Great point. Right. Instead of having it be a turnstile to be like hey,
Matador.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Olé, go on.
There are times when you like to have someone back there who can contest at the rim, but still,
Sabonis is never going to be that guy.
No,
either.
he's not.
Yeah.
But the biggest issue to me is you can't just have like say revolving door, like turnstiles, at the corner of the key. So Sabonis is back there, is like, there's too many guys coming into the paint with a basketball.
No, and that was like a massive talking point for Mike Brown all year. Is if I have to, Mike Brown would talk about dribble penetration and not allowing people into the middle more than I've ever heard a coach talk about a single thing ever before. He would just say, our defensive scheme is don't let people down the middle of the paint. It's just significantly easier when you just have a straight line and you have both sides of the paint to work with. You can throw it off the glass. There's just so many different options. And the Kings were terrible at it all year, even with Mike preaching, don't let center drives happen.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's exactly to what you're pointing to. You need people who are better on the perimeter, because if you're just going to allow people in the middle, you can have Rudy Gobert in the middle a lot of the time. There's just too many options. And we saw how many times do we see Golden State run that high pick and roll with Curry and Looney, and just they had to make a decision. It's like you either go and double Curry out on the perimeter, or you allow an easy dunk to
They
Looney.
got to the point where that's about all they ran. It was really unusual for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's not even what they like to run, but the Kings they had no way of guarding it because they didn't have length to really bother Steph. And Cam Johnson's one of those guys. Also, frankly, Kyle Kuzma is also one of those guys. The Kings desperately need forwards who have real legitimate length and can disrupt people on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's realistic to think you can get anybody in free agency that's going to help in that area. I mean, Bruce Brown is really a forward.
Right.
I don't even know if the Kings are, as far as we know, looking at anybody who helps in that area, but that's something that has to be cleaned up.
Right. I mean, those guys there's a reason why none of those guys are free agents. It's because teams want to keep those guys. And that's where, maybe it does make the most sense to try and go after a guy like OG Anunoby, because that's what he provides is a really good perimeter presence, but also somebody who still fits on offense. Those guys are just really, really hard to come by, and there's just also not many of those guys out there.
Couple of Twitter tidbits today on free agency.
Ooh.
This is from much earlier today from Chris Haynes. Kyrie Irving intends to meet with the Suns when the free agency period begins on June 30th. League sources tell Chris Haynes. What sources are they? I'd have to think they're Kyrie Irving's people, but that's like, wait, what?
Doesn't quite make sense.
Is he going to work for like $5 an hour?
Exactly. Like at some point, it's just like there isn't enough money to pay everybody there.
Yeah.
It's incredible if that actually comes through.
Although there also have been reports that the Suns and the Mavs were talking pre-draft about an Ayton deal, and they could revisit those talks. Will that have anything to do with Kyrie?
Wow.
Stay tuned.
That'd be interesting, huh? Ayton and Luka on the same team, same draft as well, 1 and 3.
That's right.
How about that?
That's right. Who was the number 2 pick? Maybe he's available too.
Yeah, he's probably available.
And Woj, just before the top of the last hour, says Andre Drummond has exercised his $3.36 million option to return to the Bulls. We had just shared, somebody reported earlier today that he was going to the Mavs.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You
love the Bulls.
I just don't understand them. You look at their roster and none of it makes any sense. I feel really bad for them because of the Lonzo thing. I know like that honestly would have I think that if Lonzo's healthy, it does make the Bulls a really intriguing like 5 or 6 seed, but with how they're completely capped out. They're paying Levine $40 million now. DeRozan's making 28. Lonzo, I think they're getting an exception on, but he makes 20. Vucevic is now making 20. They're going to have to pay Patrick Williams. They didn't trade Alex Caruso at last deadline, and now they have Andre Drummond. I just don't know what direction the Chicago Bulls are trying to go. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That team is in purgatory.
They almost got out of the play-in last year.
They almost did. They almost beat the team that made it to the finals.
DeMar DeRozan's daughter didn't have to go to school. I think they would have beaten the Heat.
It's a good point. That's a great point. And I completely forgot about DR DeRozan, the MVP of the play-in games. But I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's your hope as a Bulls fan? Like, maybe we can ask Rami the Bulls fan, but I don't know what direction, like what is their goal for next season? Make the playoffs, make like a top 8 seed. I just don't know where they're going.
We'll see if we can't answer your Bulls questions when we come back. We'll also look at this. Who will be the Sacramento Kings of the NFL this year? Chris and company next, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Chris Watkins and Whitey Gleason. By the way, James Harden has a deadline today, 5 p.m. Eastern, to opt out of
Right
his
when we get off the show.
$35.6 million player option, and ESPN is driving that thing into the ground.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, whatever. James could be one of the bigger free agent targets, but I guess this is really just more the decision of will he stay in Philly or does it seem like he's going to head to Houston? And I hope he opts in because it's just, why would you go sign up voluntarily to be a part of that Houston situation? I know they have better intentions for next year, but if you're on a team that was a win away from the conference finals and then you go to a team that was literally like one of the worst 3 teams in the NBA, that tells me all I need to know about James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we already didn't know James Harden doesn't quite love the game of basketball. Going to Houston would just really be the nail in the coffin on that.
And the fact that ESPN is spending this much time on that is an indication that James Harden is probably the biggest name in this underwhelming free agent class.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's either him or Kyrie, but I think
that's so
sad.
Sad.
It is very sad, Dave. You're right. It's
Draymond. Yeah.
Draymond. Yeah. I mean, if we're talking name value, probably. I mean, to me, it's Harden, Draymond, and Kyrie are really the big names out there. Middleton as well, but
it's a good chance they're all staying.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It seems like all
That's
of them
the
are
other thing.
probably going to stay, which, I guess Fred VanVleet, we saw this morning in the Mark Stein report, said that I think they're going to offer him something crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't think there was a number thrown out there, but Fred VanVleet can make upwards of $100
That
million.
boy's looking like Frederico.
So if Houston is going after Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks, then it's pretty clear they ain't getting James Harden, right?
Probably not. Right. That's actually a really good line to draw there because that seems to track. I think it'd be real. I know Houston has $60 million in free agency, but I don't think that they could do that to bring back Fred or to bring in Fred, James, and who knows what Dylan Brooks. That's a number I'm really intrigued to see. What does Dylan Brooks sign for at this point? Like, what is his value? And I wonder if Houston even cares or if they're just going to throw money at him. Because I feel like he's like not mid-level. I feel like he's like a salary floor kind of guy, like a vet minimum guy.
I tried to remove emotion from the equation when I evaluate Dylan Brooks, and he is a really good defender.
Yeah.
He just takes too many bad shots.
Way too many bad
but he is, he will help you defensively.
Yeah, it's the counterbalance though of like how much is he helping you defensively and how much is he hurting you offensively, especially on a team like Houston where like they already have some questionable IQ players over there. Like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. take some really terrible shots already. I don't know if you want to throw Dylan Brooks into that mix, especially if he has any sort of like, oh, I'm the veteran leader on this team. This is awesome. I don't think you want that.
If I were to drop the perfect role for him at this point, he'd be coming off the bench for me.
Yes.
As kind of a stopper in certain situations.
Yeah. If
he wouldn't be playing 30 minutes a game for me.
No, definitely not.
Unless he promises, I will not shoot. I will not shoot.
You know what's interesting?
And even that, of course, has its downside.
It is. Dylan Brooks is in a weird situation where typically I feel like you're like, oh, I like him more on a good team where his role isn't as impactful and all this stuff. But Dylan Brooks is a rare case where I feel like he should be on a bad team, because I feel like if he were to go to the Nuggets or something like that, it wouldn't work. As you meant, like he would have to down his shots a lot. And I just don't think, kind of like what I say with Kuzma, I just don't think that that's the guy that Dylan Brooks is. And at some point you can't change someone's human nature exactly is the word. Like you sometimes guys just are who they are, and they're not going to change even if it makes the most sense.
Well, last year the Kings, correct me if I'm wrong, but they broke a long playoff drought.
You are correct.
Okay.
You are correct. It was very long.
Yeah.
It was a very long drought. It
So
could drive.
saw some at NFL.com asking the question, which NFL team is best positioned to break its playoff drought?
Okay.
This season. You're not going to like one of the answers,
Yeah,
okay?
I already know where this is going. I can.
You're not going to like it.
I can.
Whenever
smell
there's
the
a
Lions.
list,
I can smell the Lions.
Whenever there's a list, Chris is like 97% not going to
Probably
like
out.
it.
Yeah, probably out on at least two options.
Number 5. This is Adam Shine put this together.
Okay.
Number 5, we'll go from least likely to most likely.
Okay.
They haven't made the playoffs since 2017.
Okay.
He's got the Carolina Panthers.
Good luck with that. I mean, they're in a terrible division. The NFC South is terrible. I think Derek Carr is probably the best quarterback in that division right now. Bryce Young very well could be the best quarterback in the NFC South by like week 5. So it would not surprise me if Carolina wins that division, but it's not going to be because the Panthers are good. It's going to be because everybody else is terrible.
And they had pretty good defensive traction for a bad team last year.
Yeah,
they got the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they still got some defensive talent. Brian Burns is over there.
Yeah.
They re-signed. They brought in Adam Thielen. I think they signed Miles Sanders as well as their running back. So they've brought in some veterans, and it's just kind of a matter of if Bryce Young is going to be good. Like if he's good, not great, not awesome, not Hall of Fame as a rookie, he just has to be good. I think Carolina has a good shot at winning that NFC South, because the other quarterbacks are Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, and who am I forgetting for the Falcons? Desmond Ridder.
Mhm.
So, not much competition there.
I know that when people engage in that exercise that we've engaged in, where you pick which teams missed the playoffs last year,
Right.
will make it this year. Panthers are a semi-popular choice. I don't have them on my list, but
yeah. It makes sense, but I'm not willing to make that bet.
Number 4, see our previous conversation. I'm all in on this one. Haven't made the playoffs since 2015. The Denver Broncos.
I don't see
Robot
it.
Russell back to throw. It's another touchdown.
It's another interception.
He only had 11 interceptions last year.
Only 11 and 16 touchdowns or something like that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, only that. It's going to be tough for them. I mean, they're going to have to make it as the wild card, in my opinion. I think that obviously the Chiefs are going to probably run away with that division, and I still am. I'm going to be a fool, and I'm going to say that the Chargers are going to have a shot at the division as well, even though I feel like I say that every year and it's never true. But I have to believe that at some point the greatness of Justin Herbert is going to override the Charger-ness of it all.
Well, here's the thing. Chargers going to win the division. It's kind of like John Collins is going to get traded.
Yes.
Well, he finally did.
Yes. Right. Very true. It's got to happen eventually. If we keep saying it's going to happen at some point, something's got to give. And I think that this could be the year that maybe the Chiefs finally don't win the division.
Sean Payton's no dummy. And
He
I
is
think,
not. No, he's really
for him
not.
to come back with that team,
Yeah.
I think he has a pretty clear idea. Hey, that can be a really good team.
I just don't know if it's going to be next year or this coming season. I believe in Sean Payton. I do not believe in Russell Wilson.
Remember, if Russell Wilson makes the Pro Bowl, you got to jump in my swimming pool.
I'm trying
in
to forget
December.
I'm trying to forget about
Maybe
it.
we'll do that for New Year's or something.
Yeah. Do you have a hot tub?
I do.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump in that.
Yeah.
That noise is happening.
Number 3, and I think you mentioned them already. They haven't been to the postseason since 2017. The Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay.
And yes, I say Falcons. Deal with it. But anyway,
I don't believe in that. I don't think the Falcons are going to be there. They have a lot of fun offensive weapons, but I don't see it as a team. Desmond Ridder, no way.
Number 1, I'll skip number 2 for the moment. Number 1 on the list, they haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. Jets. Jets.
That makes sense.
Excellent
I mean,
defensive team, and they've got a quarterback now who's high on who knows what, but
he's exactly. I could see that. That makes the most sense to me of all of them. It makes sense for them to be number 1. I mean, the Patriots could be contenders in that division. I guess obviously the Bills are going to be the top notch in that division, but you would like to hope that after all of the drama that we just had to go through this offseason with will Aaron Rodgers come over to the Jets, you would hope that he would at least find success and that we didn't just waste all of our time talking about Aaron Rodgers. God, could you imagine?
And number 2 on the list of top 5 teams
I hate
in position to break their NFL playoff droughts, like the Kings broke their playoff drought this year. Haven't made the playoffs since 2016, but they're sure thing this year.
Stop it.
Restore the roar, the Detroit Lions!
Restore the roar is terrible. Coming from someone whose podcast is Return of the Roar, go ahead and check that out. That I cannot with the Lions hype. Like, I understand the NFC North has not been this weak in a very long time. Does not mean that it's the Lions division to take.
Did you watch them play last year?
Yeah, they were good. No, the Lions were really good last year. That is the best I have seen the Lions play in my entire life. Like, I came away from both games against the Vikings being incredibly impressed with the Detroit Lions. I do not believe in Jared Goff. I think he's okay, but I honestly, and I know obviously go ahead and shout Homer, but like the Vikings, they definitely are rebuilding, but they still have enough talent to win that division. It's all about the defense. Like, their offense is going to be incredible next year. It's just or this coming season. It's just a matter of their
year
defense.
For you, I fear.
I don't think so.
A very difficult season.
I did not like the Vikings last year. That was one of the most infuriating seasons as a fan of any sport that I've ever gone through. I can't imagine I'll hate the team more this year than I did last year.
So there you go. Top 5 NFL teams most likely to break their playoff droughts. 1 Jets, 2 Lions, 3 Falcons, 4 Broncos, 5 Panthers. Coming up next, who's going where? You can find out before it happens.
Yes.
With our fearless NBA free agent predictions. They're coming up next, and they're absolutely fearless.
Yep.
And 1 or 2 of them might be right. That's next.
All of them.
Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Get all the latest 49ers news heading into the 2023 season on Sactown Sports.
I think Brock was smart, and we kind of facilitated that he met with a bunch of different surgeons. The hope is he's ready for the regular season. We'll take it as it comes, as we're doing. He's working incredibly hard, and the early returns are really good.
Sactown Sports, Sacramento's official home for 49ers football.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fan favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you want to hit the golf ball farther and straighter, the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers you the opportunity to experience the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA Tour professionals. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is an indoor facility that opens onto the driving range so you can see your all-important ball flight. With the advantages of cutting-edge technology and analyzing your ball flight, the Hagen Oaks professional staff will make you a better player. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway, or call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Hey, it's Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. Built different, built better, and built to last. All made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Just go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Now is the time to take care of your 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. And why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento, and I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 74 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Yesterday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Sacramento Kings are extending Kessler Edwards' $1.9 million team option this season. Edwards averaged 3.9 points a game in his 22 games with the Kings after he was picked up from the Brooklyn Nets last season's trade deadline. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., NBA teams are allowed to start negotiating with free agents. We will have you completely covered with all of your NBA free agency news here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and company with Whitey and Watkins.
There's one potential free agent name that came up on Twitter yesterday for the Kings. And I know, on Twitter, we're all just throwing things around, so I'm not going after anybody. But the name Kelly Oubre should never be mentioned.
No. Oh, my goodness. No, if
relative to the Kings.
No, if you're going to name him, it's Tsunami Poppy.
Sure.
We can bring up that name, but not Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. I don't think there's any chance of that happening.
Well, Mike Brown was there for his stint in Golden State, was he not?
Yeah, that did not go well.
Did not, no. And that, I just can't imagine. He's, like, I think in theory he might be an okay fit, but especially Kelly Oubre is, again, one of those guys who doesn't quite understand what his role should be in the NBA. Somebody who probably likes himself a little bit too much and feels like he's a little bit bigger of a contributor than what he actually should be. I think he has tools.
Yes.
But,
like a screwdriver and stuff. I liked Kelly Oubre, and I was excited when the Warriors got him, and I was covering the team at that time, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
There's certain guys you may remember way back when Katino Mobley, when the Kings got him.
Yeah.
And I remember reading about how they got him in the gym and they were like showing him, this is how our offense works. Like you pass and you screen away. And it's some guys just, they've never played that way.
Right.
And it's like a foreign language to him. And I think Kelly Oubre is that type of player. And he's done some nice things in his career, really nice things.
Averaged 20 a game last year. I
went to
cannot
Charlotte. Yeah, that's the thing. That looks great, right?
It looks incredible.
But in the Warriors offense, which is very similar to the Kings, it's just like he just doesn't play that way.
Right.
It's not like he's necessarily, selfish or whatever. It's just like that's not the way he plays.
Yeah. No, he's a shooter. I mean, he's a guy who feels like he should be putting up shots. He took 17 shots per game last year, which is Absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe Kelly.
How do you
Oubre
shoot
did
from
that.
the 3-point line?
Last season, Kelly Oubre shot, 31% from three, which has been a trend for him. He shot 31% in Golden State as well. He's just not efficient at all. I mean, he's a career 43% from the field, 33% from three. It's just, that's not the kind of guy the Kings need. As we've said, like Harrison Barnes is an incredibly highly efficient shooter. And if you're going to replace, and I guess Oubre wouldn't necessarily be a replacement, but I just think in general, especially in this Kings offense, you have to be able to score on the limited touches you're going to get. You're just not going to be, there's nobody on the Kings, maybe with the exception of Malik Monk, that is a volume shooter. Like, generally you get the touches you get, and you're not going to get a lot more than that.
Yeah. So I would be
it's equal opportunity.
Flabbergasted if the Kings had any real interest.
It's not really a money guy either.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And bless him, and I hope he signs somewhere where they like him and he flourishes and
Chicago.
he's very happy. Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not?
The whole problem with Chicago, when you look at how teams are put together, a couple years ago they decided we're going to try to be pretty good.
Yes.
Low ceiling, high floor kind of team. And they were. Remember, was it 2 years ago? First half of the year, I think they had the best record in the East.
Yeah.
By the time the playoffs rolled around, it was obvious like they're not that good.
Right.
And so that's where they are.
Right.
And they spend money on guys like Vucevic so they can pretty much stay where they are.
Right.
Well, you're
raise
stuck
that floor.
there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the fear for me with the Kings in terms of kind of I don't want them to lock somebody down that then, just leads them to never be able to expand on their ceiling. And I've been a proponent of them, yes, lifting up their floor, but also just with some versatility. I think that you have to be able to still add to those pieces. And the problem with Chicago is they just have no pivot points at this point. They kind of have the team they have, and there's not really much else they can do unless they want to ship off DeRozan and they didn't ship off Caruso for some reason last offseason. They're just they're just floating. Like they just are a team. They have no championship aspirations. They don't want to be in the lottery next year, but who knows where they're going to land.
So do you have any free agent bold predictions here? It looks like the vast majority of the free agents are probably going to stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
we'll find out soon enough.
Pretty much all of the top ones, I would guess, are going to stay. I think Middleton's staying in Milwaukee. I think Harden's going to stay in Philly. Maybe Kyrie goes over to Phoenix now, we're hearing, but Draymond's going to stay in Golden State. Fred VanVleet is probably the biggest name. We're hearing he could maybe go to Houston. I like San Antonio as maybe a fit for him there. There's not really just that many names. I think Brook Lopez to Houston, I think, is something that makes sense. I think
he's staying.
You think he's going to stay?
I do.
I think it makes a lot of sense for him to stay in Milwaukee, but financially, just the money that he could potentially be thrown for like a 1 or 2 year deal, I could see him going to maybe a team that isn't in the best winning situation.
I mentioned this earlier. Let me just repeat it here as we get ready for free agency. In 2019, that summer, 7 free agents changed teams on deals worth at least $100 million. 2019, 7 free agents changed teams on those $100 million or more deals. Since then, in the 3 years since, only 2 players have done that.
Oof.
Of course, Jalen Brunson and the great Gordon Hayward.
Great Gordon. I think Fred VanVleet's going to add to that list this year. I think he's going to get over 100, and I think he goes somewhere else. I can't imagine he's going to stay there in Toronto. I don't think that they could throw him that much money. I think Fred VanVleet's probably going to get a 3 or 4 year deal, and definitely upwards of 100 mil. Jeremy Grant.
That boy's looking like Frederico.
I think Jeremy Grant is maybe a name I could see moving, especially we still aren't any closer to figuring out what's going on in Portland.
Did you hear Sam Amick this morning?
I did not.
Sam Amick on today with Jay Ross, and he said, in his opinion, what's going on now is Portland is like sitting there waiting. They're daring Dame to say he wants out.
Okay.
So they're saying, all right, we're good. Dame, we're good.
We're good.
And they're just waiting him out.
Yeah. It seems like one of those situations where Dame is like, if you guys sign Jeremy Grant, I'll come back. And Portland's like, if you come back, we'll sign Jeremy Grant. And they're just kind of stuck in this limbo of like, who's going to flinch first? And I don't think it's going to be Portland. I don't think it's going to end up being the Blazers. I think Dame's going to have to make his point known.
They feel like the couple that are staying together for the kids.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Like neither one wants to be the bad guy to the fans. And I think the fans are like the most excited. They're the kids. Like, I think it would be better if you guys did split up.
Yes, they're like, we just want to see you two happy. That's really all it's about.
Yeah.
We see that both of you are upset, and we'll be happy either way. We just want you guys. We see that you're upset.
We just want to get this over with.
We want 2 Christmases, okay? The Blazers might not be good this year, but at least maybe we can root for Dame on Miami or something.
Sam was pointing out that they really like, excuse me, some of the players they drafted. But
they
it might be a matter of, look, Dame, if you stay, you can kind of be an overseer of this as our young core grows and improves.
Right.
By the time we're good, you'll be
not
done.
going to be. Yeah.
So you want to stay? Great, Dame. Because if once he says, I want out, they're off the hook.
Gone. Yes, they're like,
off. They're
cool.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Hands are washed. There's no blood on our hands.
But they don't want to be seen as the guys that decided, Dame, we're done with it.
They don't want to be the guys that kicked out the best player in franchise history. But, I mean, part of being a GM is having to make those tough decisions. And I just think with how they're currently constructed, you have Scoot Henderson, you have Anthony Simons, you have Shaden Sharp, you have so many young pieces that you can easily, and then whatever you get back from Dame, you have a lot of young pieces to just easily usher in this new era. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
Because, and they're also the ones that signed him, and they just don't want to be seen as the guys that forced him out because he's so popular there. They know what they want to do.
But my thing is like, and I think we were just talking, but like who at this point would be upset? Like,
I think
who
he's
is
just
upset at this point?
He's just so beloved up there.
Who's saying that they're the bad guys? I think that's established. Like, I think that love is there. It's just, if you really love someone, you got to be able to let them go. That's true love. That's truly what love is.
Grant Williams is going to Cleveland. That's one of my predictions. It's
Okay.
Not too bold. It's like, okay.
I thought you were breaking some news there.
I know. I was like,
no, sorry. Yeah.
What is that based off of? He just feels like a Cav to you?
They apparently have some interest in him, which I've read.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't have any insight. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
And I do think something goofy is going to happen with Kyrie because it's Kyrie.
Yes.
And I don't know. I'll just say for the heck of it, I don't even know how this could work. He's going to end up on the Lakers.
Oh, whoa. Out of left field.
Yeah.
All right, I've got my left field prediction.
Yeah. It's so left, it's actually right.
He will not be playing in the NBA within a year.
Whoa.
Within a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about Kyrie?
Yeah. He'll get like $50 million to play somewhere.
Do you think it's going to be voluntary?
Yes.
Interesting. I have a friend who has been adamant, like for the past 2 years, that Kyrie, I think he heard one of Kyrie's friends interviewed somewhere, and he said Kyrie is the kind of guy who would just retire and not say, like, it would just be out of nowhere. And ever since then, he's kind of gotten into my head that Kyrie would be the type to just be like, I'm done. I'm just done with basketball. I'm done with this whole charade. I don't like I love basketball. Don't like the NBA. I'm done. Go play in Shanghai.
The Kings, and I'll say this just because I'm still hoping against hope that it happens. Might not even be smart, but Cam Johnson. They will sign him to an offer sheet, and it'll be so
much
expensive that the Nets will go, no, you can have him.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson will be a Sacramento King.
I'm going to say Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, Sacramento King.
Right. Oh, I hope you're right.
Yeah, because I'll be wishing for that one as well.
That'd be tremendous.
Let's see. What else can I go here? Let's say, you know what? I'll piggyback off Chris a little. I'll say Russell Westbrook. Nowhere. I don't think Russ gets signed. I think he's just going to be Shanghai Russ moving forward. I don't think anybody has any interest in him.
I know what you mean. There's nowhere that I can think of where I'd go, oh yeah, he'll go there.
Because I still don't think he's comfortable coming off the bench. Even if he was, what's a situation where it makes sense to bring in Russell Westbrook as your backup point guard? I just can't. I can't see it. The Lakers, funny enough, make a lot of sense. I think that ship is sailing.
Guys like that where they often seem to end up. I'm going Russell Westbrook will be a Charlotte Hornets.
Oh,
I have no idea why.
There's the Jordan connection. He is a Jordan athlete.
There you go.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Uh-huh.
I think that tracks, but I much more believe that he will not be on a team next year.
All right. I know you have some questions for Rami about the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, I want to know what are they doing?
Yeah, we have that coming up, the crossover. And story time today, Chris?
Yes, we will. There's only one story, but it is a doozy.
A doozy.
Yes.
It's all next. Chris and Company, Sactown Sports.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Are you ready for the ultimate 4th of July celebration? Get ready to kick off the summer in style with the hottest deals in town at Elk Grove Kia. Introducing the all-new 2023 Kia Forte GT line, a compact sedan that's turning heads everywhere. And guess what? You can drive it home for an incredible $149 per month. That's right, the Forte GT line at an unbeatable price. But wait, we've got something even bigger for you. The Kia Telluride, the hottest SUV on the market, is here with prices so low we can't even advertise. We have 11 Tellurides available for immediate delivery. These deals are the best we've had in over 3 years, so hurry in for the best selection. Our general manager guarantees that if there's a car, SUV, or truck you're willing to take the keys for, we'll find a way to fit your budget at Elk Grove Kia today. Don't buy until you check us out at elkgrovekia.com.
2023 Kia Forte GT line 149 plus tax, 36 month lease, $49.99 customer cash to assigning residual of $15,570.45 based on 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required. Kia finance tier 1 FICO score 740 plus subject to lender approval. One of this payment GK 888-764-1747 expires 7/5/2023.
Elk Grove Kia.
At Ashton and Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton and Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton and Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Summertime is a great time to get your home evaluated for solar. And while you're at it, make sure your roof is in good shape for all seasons. Hey, Jason Ross here to tell you about ACR Solar and Home Services. Go to acrsolar.com to find out all the different things that they can provide for you. And while we're all watching utility costs go up, along with everything else, why not make the most of the sunshine beating down on your roof? Harness that solar power and cut those rising utility bills while at the same time improving the value of your home. ACR Solar and Home Services makes it easy with a simple evaluation that'll show you just what it would take to get your home generating savings that help your bottom line and help protect the environment. So start now, and while you're there, ACR Solar and Home Services can make sure your roof is in prime condition. So just go to acrsolar.com and start your savings today. ACR Solar and Home Services, quality, value, and integrity since 1979.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Captain Planet, Arab Spring, LA riots, Rodney King, deep fakes, earthquakes, Iceland volcano, Oklahoma City bomb, Kurt Cobain, Pokemon, Tiger Woods, MySpace, Monsanto, GM.
What are you doing to us, Christopher Ladd? What is this? That's not Billy Joel.
This is Fall Out Boy's continuation of We Didn't Start the Fire that was released yesterday. And it is a thing.
It is a thing. It's definitely a thing. Wow.
Like, I wouldn't call it good.
Huh. I see where they're going with that.
Okay.
though. Yeah.
I guess.
Been some interesting things going on.
Sure.
Reminds me of we did a song years ago about the King's history and did it to that song. So, yeah.
Titled?
Peja is not on fire. Yeah. Yeah. So
it was very well done.
Where did you come up with that title?
Well,
like, was he not hot? Like, was he?
It was just like, it's all over now. You know, it's like we're all done. Yeah. He's not even here anymore. And the whole thing was kind of unraveling.
Right.
And maybe we need to update it now that they're good again, or probably not.
It's one of the best pieces of content I've ever seen.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
What's happening?
So we do know about James Harden.
Yeah.
This is according to Adrian Wojnarowski.
Who's that guy?
James Harden is picking up his $35.6 million option, and sides are beginning to work together in exploring trade scenarios.
Ooh.
It's expected that Harden has played his last game for Philadelphia.
Aha, but doesn't mean that he's staying
in Philadelphia. Interesting. Please don't send him to Phoenix. Just don't. I don't need another reunion. My goodness. Where could that even be? I mean, who's some Harden candidates out there?
Houston is the only one that I'm aware of. There may be other ones.
He probably would have opted out, though. And you could have worked out a sign and trade. That's strange. I don't know what to do with that information.
And Houston, I've been wondering because everyone has been linked to Houston. It's like they don't have enough roster spots. But I'm wondering if some of the draft picks some of the draft picks may be part of some big trade for James Harden. Because Tillman Fertitta, the owner, supposedly loves Harden. So if you wonder, well, why would they do something like that? Well, you know how owners can be.
Yeah. They can force people's hands, and you know, sometimes whether it's a good decision or not, they're going to plow through and do it anyway. I just don't know if what can Houston, I guess they can throw some of their younger guys at them, throw Jalen Green at I don't know. I don't really know how that would make sense for Houston. Just because Fertitta really likes them doesn't mean that you should throw out value as a, you know, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. That's really interesting.
The Sixers, I'll tell you what, I'll take Şengün off your hands. I don't even care how he would fit because he's really good.
Yeah, you figure it out. That is interesting. Well, I don't even know if, again, though, like if he was going to go to, if Houston was the path, why would James do Philly the favor of opting in? Why not just opt out and sign with Houston? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. And so it has to me, then it has to be a team that doesn't have cap space. It's a team that the only way they could acquire James Harden was through trade and matching salaries that way.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there's not, I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. It's
just
just Houston's the only team I know that was linked to him. But yeah, you're right. There probably is another club out there.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Sacramento is not.
Yeah, I was like, that I'm trying to draw some dots there. It doesn't quite add up there.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Thank you for that breaking news. Something else to keep an eye on. Yeah. Here's Rami. You know, Rami, I know you're a big baseball guy.
Yes.
I last night realized the dividing line, how you can tell if someone is really a fan of their team or not. And last night, I don't know if you saw, Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game against the A's. If you're watching your team and they're being no-hit or perfect gamed, if you want them to be perfect game, you can't be that big of a fan. And I know fans have said, yeah, I love my team, but I want to see a no-hitter.
I want to see history.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
But if you're like, as I was last night, like, I don't want to see a perfect game here. I don't want to see that. I want the A's to break up.
You're still emotionally investing yourself in the A's?
Yes.
You're still doing that to yourself? I mean...
Absolutely.
I mean, no. If I'm still emotionally invested, then no, I'm not rooting for my team to get
like
no
if the Cubs
perfect game.
You're there and it's like a no hitter. You don't want to. Oh, I want to say I saw a no hitter, right?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And now Chris will have an opinion that you will not believe.
He doesn't even want his own team to throw.
I don't want to see any. If I pay to go to a baseball game, I'll be damned if I don't see a single hit. What? That's crazy.
You're one of those
I'm
people.
paying for runs.
I've heard this opinion before.
Really?
That's absurd.
I'm glad because I feel like no,
that's absurd.
No,
that's
I'm paying for action, not for inaction.
I was 1 out away from seeing a no hitter, and it was Juan Guzman. And for the Cubs, and Otis Nixon just slapped one off the left center field wall.
Isn't that's the worst?
With 2 outs in the ninth.
Right.
With 2 outs in the ninth, he just slapped it out there.
That's worse because it's just like, okay, so now I just saw a bad baseball game. Now there's not even anything special about it. It's just, he got a hit and it was 7-0.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, you're
not
right.
a good story.
Once the no hitter gets spoiled, you're right. The scorecard just looks like a boring baseball game.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And I know you also had a question for Rams about about the Bulls.
So Andre Drummond just opted into.
Sweet.
Yeah,
man.
great. I know. My question is, What are the Bulls doing?
You got the wrong guy because I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know what they're doing. And I hate them for not tanking last year for Wembanyama. It makes no sense. And now they got a bunch of assets that nobody really wants.
Right.
Like if they said that the value that they're seeking isn't out there for Zach LaVine. DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan isn't going to draw any interest on the trade market. They brought back Vucevic for some reason. I don't understand that. No, I don't know, man.
They're just living in purgatory.
That's what I'm saying. They're totally okay just spinning their wheels on the playoff bubble. That's
We're
right
pretty
where they are.
good. And watch, next year, things go our way. We're going to be pretty good again.
I hate them. I love them, but also I hate them. You know what I mean?
I
You
do.
guys know what I mean.
Definitely
Yeah,
know what you mean.
sure.
I'm sorry.
Before we leave, more news on this possible trade. Shams Charania is saying James Harden's 76ers begin working on a trade out of Philadelphia, with the Los Angeles Clippers expected to emerge as an interested team in Harden.
Paul George? Could that be a Paul George move?
Yes.
Interesting.
And I'm sorry, Christopher Laud, with things
I know.
around there we didn't get to story.
Yeah, no problem.
You've been hanging on to that, haven't you?
I've been hanging on to it since last Friday, and then I got sick, and then just everything's been happening. So, promise Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. We may end up with a lot to talk about tomorrow.
Hopefully. I'm hoping
Yeah.
so. Well, Cattles and Rami are going to get all the real stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm finding out about this with you guys. I didn't know any of this.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the James Harden stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's just breaking, just evolving.
Yeah. Tomorrow at 3 is when free agency official starts, right?
Mm-hmm. But you never know. Maybe
things will get leaked for sure.
prior to.
Yeah, for sure. They get all the action though.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna get all the action.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I'm jealous.
It's gonna be a fun.
Very
afternoon.
jealous.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cattles and Rami. They're next right here. Sactown Sports.
It was an amazing season for the Sacramento Kings. The coach of the year.
These honors don't come around often, and so you're very appreciative of them.
The clutch player of the year.
Fox rocks. He fires for the win.